Heavy burden. Try being 13 and carrying the executioner's blade. One swing and ties are severed permanently. Yeah, worst teenage job ever. Enter Leon von Marbus, the kid who literally wiped out his own bloodline, the personal Grim Reaper for his entire family tree. And just like that, at barely 14, boom, he is the undisputed head of the house. But things get completely insane when he unearths the Necronomicon, an ancient generational artifact holding the absolute darkest secrets of necromancy. Suddenly voices, the actual book starts talking directly into his brain. He is caught off guard thinking, wait, telepathy, seriously. He glances around demanding to know who is playing tricks, the voice super chill telling him to relax because it is definitely not hostile. Flash, a massive magic circle erupts and a shadowy figure straight up manifests. But our boy Leon doesn't even flinch, just deadpan stares. A colossal, terrifying lion beast steps out. The monster looks around, totally lost, asking where the heck it just got summoned. The beast immediately demands answers about Leon's dad. Like, did he really not give you a heads up? Recognizing the name Run, the beast growls. The mana connection is completely dead. It actually complains that the guy was too nice to rule. Then comes the heavy question. Who delivered the finishing blow to his dad? Leon pauses. Time to name the guy who ended it all. Turning his back, Leon drops the absolute bombshell. It was him. The son killed the father. Roar. The monster absolutely loses it, blasting our guy backward with pure rage. Leon brushes himself off as the beast issues one final warning. Did you murder my sworn master? It bellows. And Leon, zero hesitation, just coldly replies, yep, that is exactly how it went down. He doubles down right there. Yes, he ended his own flesh and blood. Eyes locked. The beast is ready for blood. Jaws wide open, it launches itself right at the kid in an absolute frenzy. But Leon holds his ground, tanking that insane, suffocating pressure. Flashback, we see the kid's hand slicing straight through the executioner's rope, and right after, we see the brutal, traumatic aftermath of that single devastating strike. The beast tries coping, claiming his master's senses were stolen, but Leon shuts that down instantly. Nope, they both know that is a complete lie. Hearing that cold truth, the massive monster just freezes, staring him down quietly, completely stunned. Snapping out of its grief, the beast senses something terrifying inside Leon. How the heck does a little kid have this much raw magic? Step. Splash. Ripples scatter across the dark liquid floor. Leon steps up on the platform, locking eyes with this giant monster, his gaze radiating pure authority. The lion beast glares back, completely baffled by how ridiculous this entire situation actually is. But then it feels his potential. This kid might actually outclass his legendary ancestor. Coughing awkwardly, the beast finally pulls itself together. Meet Marbus, an actual demon straight out of the underworld. He reveals he completely ditched his dark home turf just to hang out with humans. Turns out he was best buds with Wellen and the literal fountain of their family's necromancy. Leon nods, he knows the lore. He remembers hearing how this very demon taught the forbidden dark arts to his great ancestors back in the day. Marbus confirms it, adding that he is permanently chained to this creepy Necronomicon book forever. Leon brings up the Black Lion crest, knowing the founder trusted their dark magic. Marbus just silently studies this bold young lord. Then our boy decides to hit him with the real million-dollar historical question. Why did Marbus just ditch their family? The demon scoffs at that. What on earth gave this kid that ridiculous idea? Leon points out the obvious truth. Literally nobody else in his family ever became a legendary necromancer. Isn't that proof enough? The kid stares him down without blinking. Marbus turns around, suddenly dead serious, ready to lay out the harsh, unfiltered truth. Time for the brutal reality check. The real reason his family sucks at necromancy, they are simply way too weak to be proper vessels. Ouch. None of them even held a candle to Welland's insane talent. It was basically a dark omen, a glaring sign of a bloodline hitting rock bottom. Leon just goes quiet, letting that massive insult completely sink in. Surprisingly, he accepts it. Squaring up with Marbus, Leon shrugs it off. The weak getting crushed in battle, just the absolute law of nature. Marbus probes deeper. Is that cold logic how he justifies his dad's death? Leon's response, ice cold. It doesn't matter. Nothing special about it. Looking over his shoulder, he drops a little, but wait, there is more. Assuming Marbus hasn't totally bailed on them, Leon says he needs a favor. The demon literally bares his fangs aggressively, rejecting the offer. Favor denied. He reminds the kid that you do not ask demons for favors. You make hard bargains. Pacts. My bad, Leon corrects. Let's make a pact for ultimate necromancy. The massive beast just stares completely stunned into absolute silence. Our boy doubles down on it. Does this so-called demon actually have the juice to deliver? Marbus snaps back instantly. A little brat shouldn't test him. What does he even have to offer? Does this kid honestly think he's worthy of such god-tier power? Obviously, Leon smirks. Because a high-ranking demon wouldn't waste time chatting up a talentless loser. Normal folks, they literally hallucinate and drop dead just looking at demons. So the fact our boy is still standing, proof he's built different. Marbus just watches him, taking it all in. Then, the demon lays down the absolute rule. Every request to a demon, it's a blood pact, period. But get this, Leon actually thinks he has something worth trading. The demonic beast just listens, watching this crazy kid from the shadows with total predatory focus. Out of nowhere, boom, the monster busts out laughing. He absolutely loves the sheer audacity, and just like that, pact accepted. Deal struck. Now for the catch, what's the price? The demon flashes this horrifying, razor-sharp grin that screams bad news. The absolute cost, everything. Every single piece of his soul and existence. Leon's reaction, complete silence. The guy doesn't even flinch at the threat. He actually smirks, tells the demon he's relieved because he was fully prepared to give up his entire existence anyway. Marbus is totally stunned. He's looking at this kid completely differently now. Meanwhile, back at the estate, the elders are having a massive meeting. Enter the villain. Leon's uncle clears his throat, demanding everyone's absolute attention. He starts trash-talking our main character right away, calling out young Lord Leon and basically saying the kid has zero real power here, completely dismissing Leon's potential. Then he looks right at the counselors, demanding their agreement, playing the caring family card classic scumbag move. He uses his uncle status to justify a complete takeover. He wants total control of everything. And of course, one of the spineless counselors immediately folds, agreeing it's the smartest play. His excuse, they totally can't let a literal kid run the whole house. Another guy nods along, ready to hand over the keys. But wait, one loyal noble actually steps up, reminding them Leon is the true bloodline heir. He lays down the law. You just don't break the sacred line of succession. The traitor loses it. Screaming that tradition means nothing when they're about to die, Sylvester's massive army is literally marching to wipe them out right now. He makes it crystal clear, stick with the kid and you're dead meat. Bam! The loyal noble slams the table, absolutely furious. He jumps up roaring that they swore an oath. Their loyalty belongs to the house no matter what happens. He draws the line. No way is he letting this uncle steal the throne. Hitting the floor, he completely breaks down. How did their proud family end up fed to this absolute vulture? The uncle just smirks, calls it a brave little speech while leaning in close. He's actually amused that Leon has one single ride-or-die follower left. The noble snaps back, demanding he explain himself right now. But the uncle just hits him with this chilling smile. Loyalty is cute, but this coup is already a finished deal. Stepping right up to the guy, he completely closes the distance. Dropping the noble's name, the uncle just radiates this massive, threatening energy. He grabs the guy's shoulder casually, suggesting he take some advice. But check this out, dark, lethal magic starts pouring straight out of his hand. Total villain glare. Do they really think their votes count? Crushed by the overwhelming aura, the noble realizes the horrifying truth. Kirchel rigged this whole thing. Grip tightening, Kirchel whispers a warning. He better think real hard before speaking again. Pivoting to the rest of the room, he reminds everyone why they're really here. It's all about choosing the lesser evil, apparently. He tells his old friend to stop playing hero and just let them survive this absolute mess. Completely broken, the noble begs his dead lord for forgiveness. Meanwhile, cut back to our boys. Marbus is still having an intense staring contest with Leon. Leon doesn't blink, just stares right back, waiting for this legendary demon to make a move. Finally, Marbus speaks up. The deal is golden, except for one massive problem. Sizing Leon up, the demon breaks down the fine print. Thanks to this brand new pact, his raw demonic power just took a serious nosedive. The harsh truth, Leon's dad had way more magical juice in the tank. Right, demons literally feed off their master's mana to survive. Leon shrugs it off. What exactly is he supposed to do about it right now? Snap, the demon hits him with the solution. Time to enter extreme power-saving mode. The terrifying aura vanishes instantly. The ancient grimoire shifts and suddenly, boom, a tiny, ridiculously cute mascot character appears. Marbus claims it's just basic mana efficiency. Leon takes one look and completely loses it. Yeah, makes sense, but honestly, this mighty demon looks like a fluffy little pet you'd keep in your pocket. Oh, Marbus is pissed. He literally threatens to chew Leon's face off for the disrespect. The tiny terror demands respect, but Leon just sarcastically agrees to humor him. Jokes aside though, Marbus drops the hammer they need to bail immediately. The Masco-tangent demon reminds him of the goal. If Leon wants to survive, he needs power that absolutely rivals his legendary ancestors. The quickest cheat code, literally retrace the First Lord's steps. Leon thinks about it for 2 seconds. Yeah, that's actually a really solid plan for leveling up. Next stop on the map, the original ancestor's secret lost sanctuary. Let's go. This trip, it might literally kill him. Marbus gives him the whole "are you sure" speech, but Leon, he's just annoyed. Like, why keep doubting his resolve? The tiny creature twitches on the ground, flashing some seriously sharp claws. Conditions accepted. Leon just smirks and tells the little guy to move out. So they push deep into the woods following this floating mini-demon. They finally make it. Leon instantly recognizes this place, the mystical territory of House Marbus. Here's the catch: if you don't have the right bloodline, this forest, complete death maze. Flashback time: his dad always said only the true family head could get inside. Marbus chimes in, saying everyone else failed because they were missing one crucial thing. The secret, the element of the abyss. Without that dark energy, you're not getting through. Swish one wave of its tiny paw and the magical barrier just opens up. Standing at the entrance, Marbus is like, alright, let's get this test started. Looking down a massive staircase, they brace for absolute chaos. One step in, and a creepy voice literally invites him inside. And Marbus drops the bomb that Leon is totally on his own from here. Flashing a super creepy, toothy grin, the creature turns around. His only advice: just do exactly what the Necronomicon tells you to do. Clutching the dark tome, Leon stares at it. He's totally ready for this. Still grinning, Marbus promises this book is his ticket to insane power. Following the floating manual, our boy marches right down that creepy stone hallway. But wait, he freezes. Something is definitely off up ahead. A pitch-black corridor stretches out like a bottomless pit. Then whoosh, a single torch suddenly flares to life on the wall. And guess what's blocking the way? A pack of absolutely furious growling goblins. He looks closer and yep, it's a hostage situation. They've got a woman tied up, completely gagged and surrounded by these nasty little monsters. The monsters crowd around her, completely oblivious to him standing there. Book in hand, Leon gets ready to unleash some serious dark magic. He flips the tome open. Boom, a massive magical crest lights up. First secret unlocked: how to literally raise the dead nearby. His eyes lock onto the page, scanning the insane instructions for his first real move. Meanwhile, back in the hallway, those spooky torches keep flickering in the dark. The goblins are gearing up, still completely ignoring him. But here's the catch to start the magic: the book demands a fresh sacrifice. The pages just start flipping themselves, hunting for the exact spell he needs. Snap, he shuts the book and pulls out his dagger. Time to work. He locks onto his targets, calculating his next move perfectly. On the ground, the tied-up woman is absolutely panicking, gasping for air. Right next to her, two goblins are literally growling at each other. No more waiting. He steps up. In one lightning-fast blur, he lunges right into the pack and lands a crazy heavy hit. Instantly, a massive goblin jumps him, aiming a brutal punch right at his head. Swoosh, he ducks right under it, burying his dagger straight into the monster's chest. He rips it out instantly, ready for round two. It was so fast. Just one clean, ridiculously precise strike. Thud. The ugly thing hits the floor totally out cold. He just wipes the blade clean and mutters, alright, that's one down. Suddenly a memory hits him standing in a graveyard. His dad looks right at him, telling him to pay very close attention to this lesson. His dad asks him the ultimate question: who does their family respect most? Looking up at a creepy statue, his dad drops the truth. Death. As a pure necromancer clan, they have to respect death above everything. Little Leon just stands there totally confused. He tilts his head and asks the obvious, like, how exactly do you respect the Grim Reaper? He literally thought dark mages just killed people to get stronger. His dad chuckles. Yeah, the whole continent is terrified of them. But here's the thing that doesn't mean they get to be the bad guys. He puts a heavy hand on his shoulder. He wants one absolute promise. Swear to give every enemy a quick, painless out. Snapping back to reality, Leon stares at the monsters. Does he really owe them a clean exit? Suddenly, a massive, absolutely jacked orc blocks the hallway ahead. Sporting a fresh scratch, he stares down this new boss without blinking. While surrounded by goblins, he realizes one torch just went completely dark. Stepping right on the dead goblin, he gets into stance. If he's keeping that promise to his dad, he needs a perfect strike to the spine. Sever the spine, lights out. It's literally the most painless way to kill. Watching from the sidelines, Marbus is honestly impressed by that perfect hit. Was it just dumb beginner's luck, or raw, terrifying talent? Smiling that wicked smile, Marbus knows he's about to find out real soon. Leon, though, he's convinced that first kill was 100% pure luck. He knows these nasty little guys fight dirty. The rest of the goblin mob, they're closing in fast. He tightens his grip on that dagger. Time for round two. Pitch black down here, judging the ground level, next to impossible. One wrong step and it's game over in the dark. Wait, the first torch died when that first goblin dropped. Stepping forward, our boy completely flips his battle strategy. He lunges right at them, dagger locked and loaded. He angles the blade forward, lining up the perfect kill shot. The monster screams right in his face, but Leon unfazed, eyes totally locked onto his target. Another goblin down and boom, another torch extinguishes. Total darkness creeping in. He slices the next ugly target, dropping it instantly. No time to breathe. He spins around perfectly, blocking a massive strike from the next monster. Gripping that hilt like his life depends on it, he counters. A lightning-fast slash directly to the goblin's throat. Another kill. Another torch dies out. The shadows deepen. His eyes finally adjust to the pitch black. But check this out. That fancy ceremonial dagger is already chipping. Not good. A weird sound echoes. He snaps his head up. Death from above. The final goblin is diving straight at him. He instantly braces his arm for the impact. Bam! A flawless parry that sends the monster's weapon flying across the room. Panicking, the beast actually tries to snatch Leon's blade barehanded. Huge mistake. It misses completely. Watching all this from the shadows, Marbus is utterly confused. Why drop the weapon? Meanwhile, Leon effortlessly dodges and resets. Leon stares down the beast. Marbus is watching in pure shock now. Ducking under a swipe, Leon slides for his dropped blade. Reaching out, his fingers wrap around the hilt. Got it. Now it's time to end this ugly thing once and for all. He stomps the ground hard, using that explosive momentum to launch himself, moving like an absolute blur for the finishing strike. A blinding flash of steel. He carves that dagger straight through the goblin's chest, followed by a clean decapitation. Brutal. He just stands there in the heavy silence, watching the lifeless body hit the floor. He pivots, taking in the carnage. Stepping right over the goblin corpses, our guy pushes deeper into that creepy pitch-black corridor. Up ahead, a hostage. He moves in to cut her ropes. She's gagged, staring at him with these big, hopeful, puppy dog eyes. He quickly yanks the gag off her face. Immediately, she's crying, thanking him over and over for saving her life. And while she's thanking him, she literally stabs a dagger right into his shoulder. Talk about an insane plot twist. He stumbles backward, staring at her, completely blindsided by this insane betrayal. That blade dug deep into muscle. Pure agony. He slowly lifts his bleeding arm, suddenly remembering some intense advice from his old man. Ignoring the blade still stuck in his shoulder, he just violently lunges at her. She screams, collapsing backward from his brutal counterattack. His dad's harsh voice echoes in his mind, demanding he never forget this crucial lesson. Back in the flashback, his father drops cold hard truth: traitors don't get peaceful deaths. They need to feel their victims' absolute terror. A terrifying smirk crosses his face. Time for your suffering lesson, he says. As she screams, that final torch flame violently flickers. And then poof, the last torch dies entirely, swallowing the bloody hallway in total darkness. Cut to somewhere way nicer. Beautiful women dancing, singing in this stupidly lavish club. VIP section is packed with people just living it up. Kirchhoff laughs like a complete maniac. He's bragging his time is here, he's taking over the household. The girls beside him are totally eating it up. One calls him a distinguished gentleman. Another praises his genius play using the Sylvester family. He smugly admits he'll have to play lapdog and bow to them for a bit. He casually takes a sip of his stupidly expensive drink. Slamming the glass down, he declares it's a way better option than letting the whole house crumble to ash. The guy just keeps laughing, bragging about his so-called flawless victory. Later on, you see his whole squad toasting at this ridiculously massive feast. But one guy kills the vibe, asking about young Leon. He warns that the vassals are still super loyal to the father. Leon won't be easy to trash. Kirchhoff just pours himself another drink. Cool as ice, he sees no reason to overcomplicate things. Flashing this incredibly evil smile, he drops his plan for the young lord. The kid's gotta go because dead men tell no tales, right? His lackey agrees, joking that the dead haven't spoken in literal centuries. He tops off the glasses, getting everyone hyped for the bloody celebration ahead. Glasses clink. Kirchhoff and his corrupt little circle toast to his absolute rise to power within the house. Toast finished, he just chugs the entire bottle like an absolute savage. The rest of his crew drinks up, celebrating their shiny new lord's guaranteed win. Obnoxious laughter fills the room while gorgeous dancers keep the party going. But meanwhile, Lord Sylvester is having a secret meeting with his own guys. He casually asks if the scheme to totally conquer House Marbus is working. His man nods. Kirchhoff is basically their puppet now. Sylvester just laughs, calling them all idiots for actually thinking he would just sit back and wait. Click. He slides a chess piece forward. Well, isn't this a perfect little opening? He smirks. Right on cue, his lackey starts kissing up, praising the boss's absolute genius. Classic villain stuff. Holding up a picture of Kirchhoff, our edgy lord narrows his eyes. He wants a name. Who exactly is this punk ruining his plans? A super creepy smile spreads across his face. Tonight is going to be incredibly entertaining, he purrs. Then he barks out an order to get everything ready. Like right now, leaning back in his fancy chair, he literally says he can't wait to hear the screaming. Okay, edgelord, we get it, you're the bad guy. Meanwhile, back in the dungeon times, poof, the last torch dies out. Leon is just standing there in the dark, gripping a blood-soaked dagger, fighting to catch his breath. He stares down at the monster he just dropped. Is it over? Was that the last one? Nope. Suddenly, bam. A blinding flash of light fills the entire corridor. The flames roar back to life. And guess what? The test. Yeah, definitely not over yet. Leon groans, rubbing his eyes from the flashbang effect. Right next to him, his floating demon buddy Marbus is practically losing his mind. Kid, that was absolutely wild. Marbus literally launches himself at our boy. I have never seen a human do that, Leon. Completely jump-scared. Eyes wide open as this weird little demon flies right at his face. Thud. He falls flat on his back, totally stunned. I mean, wouldn't you be if a tiny demon suddenly dive-bombed you? Marbus lands right on his chest. You could survive an orc camp easily, the demon cheers, squishing Leon's cheeks with its tiny paws, like aggressively squishing them. You totally saw through that monster's disguise. Getting back to his feet, Leon deadpans that he'd really like to avoid orcs forever, thanks. The little demon just tilts its head. It stares at this completely unfazed kid, super curious about his thought process. Leon casually mentions he's heard orcs absolutely hate humans. Marbus rolls his eyes, ignoring the orc talk, and demands to know how Leon figured out the disguise. Leon doesn't even look at him. Staring straight ahead, he drops the logic bomb. When all the torches went dark, one stayed lit. Now Marbus is hooked. Go on, he says. Leon explains that he noticed something weird about the flames. The color was completely off. Standing in that creepy hallway, he flashes back to the fight. Those torches, they weren't normal fire. They were burning bright green. Green fire, classic hue of the dead. And here's the kicker. Every single time he killed a monster, a torch instantly snuffed out. But after he wiped out the entire goblin squad, he checked the walls. Not all the lights were out. Simple math, right? Torches still lit meant there was still an enemy hiding. The room literally wouldn't let him pass until every single one was dead. Boy is exhausted. He drops to the floor, finally taking a second to deal with all the cuts and bruises from that insane brawl. Marbus is genuinely impressed now, ice in his veins. He seriously can't believe a 14-year-old kid was paying that much attention to the room's mechanics. Think about it. When monsters are trying to chop your head off, most people completely panic. You don't casually count torches. And acting without freezing up, almost impossible for a rookie. But Leon, he just soloed an entire room of monsters like it was nothing. The demon practically purrs. Oh, this kid has way more going on than just a big mana pool. He's definitely hiding some dark, terrifying potential. Flashing a wicked toothy grin, Marbus is hyped. First test cleared. Time to crank up the difficulty for round 2. The pages of his creepy magic book start flipping on their own. Step 1, take a life. Yeah, check that box already. He snaps the book shut. Game face on. What's next on the edgy magic syllabus? Step 2, raise the fallen. He just stares at the open page for a second, letting those insane instructions sink in. Oh, we are doing full-blown necromancy now. He looks over at the dead goblins. Alright, time to make some zombie minions. A slight, almost creepy smile tugs at his lips. He gets it. He knows exactly what needs to happen next. The innocent kid act is gone. With a totally sinister glare, he prepares to raise his first undead. He skims the manual on zombie making. Marbus nods in approval, telling him to focus on the goblin corpses. Leon shifts his gaze, mentally preparing for the dark magic. The demon coaches him through it. Focus your mana right into your eyes. Push your vision past normal human limits. Do that and you'll see them. Ethereal threads attached to every corpse trailing off into the absolute unknown. He squints at the bodies. Boom. Glowing lines of energy spilling out of them. Marbus drops the lore. Necromancers call this the death line. It's the literal bridge between worlds. A thread that cuts right through the boundary of death to tether the soul. Spot on. The little demon tells him to reach out his hand and actually touch the energy thread. Here's the trick. You separate the soul from the flesh, then fuse it with your own mana. Do that and congratulations, you're the boss of a new zombie. And just like that, the dead goblins start twitching. They slowly rise up, lifting their heads to show off sick, newly demonic forms. Wait, scratch that. Marbus looks super annoyed and decides he needs to personally show the kid how it's actually done. The little guy floats over to start the real spell. Leon grips a stolen goblin sword, totally ready to learn the dark arts. Marbus explains that this specific marking technique, absolutely crucial. It's literally the only way to make this trick work on monsters. Mentally taking notes, Leon finally stands up straight, fighting through the pain of his injuries. Marbus drops a weird little sphere. Your turn. Try it. But right before he casts the spell, Leon stops. He's got a question about a tiny detail that's been bugging him. He remembers his old man dropping a truth bomb, turning a human into an undead. Way harder than your average parlor trick. So he asks, has he actually leveled up enough to pull this off? Marbus just smirks. You sound like a guy with a specific target in mind. Still grinning, Marbus leans in. Who exactly is about to become the unlucky test subject for this nasty little spell? Zero hesitation. The target, Kirch von Marbus. And with the coldest smirk, our boy drops the punchline, it's his dear old uncle. Meanwhile, cut to the villain's lair. The Great Hall is practically shaking with laughter as Kershaw and his cronies drink themselves silly, celebrating a win they think is already in the bag. Just a bunch of backstabbers having the time of their lives. Classic bad guy party. Glass in hand, Uncle of the Year gloats about how peaceful life has been since his own brother died. He actually calls himself a man of opportunity. Gross. One of his yes men chimes in. The only thing left on their to-do list, wiping out the soul heir. The guy sucks up even more, saying Kershaw must feel so relieved. And Kershaw, he just brushes it off. taking out his nephew, piece of cake. So he tells everyone to raise their glasses and drink up. But then boom, the entire hall violently shakes. The ceiling literally starts caving in right on top of their little victory party. Crash debris everywhere. People are eating dirt, total chaos. Kershaw is completely lost. What the heck just happened? He's panicking. This place has magical barriers. He frantically looks around trying to figure out who just crashed his party. He shuts up one of the screaming guests, straining his ears for any sound. "Who's there?" he yells. Like who would be crazy enough to attack him? Then a voice answers back. "What made you so sure?" Flash of light. Dust settles. And boom, Leon is standing right there. Kershaw slaps on this arrogant smile, acting tough as he stares down the intruder. He snaps his fingers for his guards, totally mocking the young lord. But Leon ice cold. Not a single emotion on his face. Leon hits him with the absolute best sarcasm, thanking his backstabbing uncle for remembering him. Kershaw scoffs. What does he want? Leon doesn't even blink. A lord doesn't need an invitation to visit his own property. Oh, the absolute disrespect. Kershaw glares at him and spits back that a worthy lord wouldn't, and they both know Leon is practically garbage. He laughs right in Leon's face. "Afraid of losing your throne, kid. Too late. Daddy's dead and gone." Leon just stands there, soaking in the insult. Then, he slowly raises his hand. Time to show exactly who's boss. He looks dead at his uncle and says he doesn't need anyone's protection anymore. He's got his own security detail now. Kershaw cracks up. "You've got guts coming here, kid." But Leon drops the hardest line. "Your mistake is thinking I came alone." Now Kershaw is getting annoyed. What the heck is this brat blabbering about? Out of nowhere, the ground literally warps under his feet. The shadows start stretching, and Kershaw realizes instantly this isn't normal magic. This is pure abyss energy. It's heavy, suffocating, a darkness way worse than anything he's ever felt. His eyes bug out. No way. This can't be happening. Crawling straight out of the shadows, reanimated goblins, undead, and looking for blood. Leon steps right to the front, commanding his brand new nightmare squad. Kershaw is surrounded. He stares at the rotting flesh, completely horrified. They're actually undead. He loses his mind. Not even your father had this kind of power, and Leon cool as a cucumber. House Marbus is officially back in the necromancy business. Gritting his teeth, Kershaw is in complete denial. He screams at his guards to wipe out these abominations right now. The guards charge in. Big mistake. Huge. Leon doesn't even flinch. He mentally gives the order, and his undead goblin squad shoots forward like bullets to meet the guards. A guard swings his sword clang. The zombie goblin blocks it effortlessly. The guard is absolutely stunned that a rotting corpse just parried him. And then the goblin just shoves the guard's weapon aside like it's nothing, completely breaking his defense. Slice. The goblin carves right through the guy's chest. Blood splatters everywhere while the guard screams his lungs out. The guard drops dead right at Kershaw's feet. Thud. The uncle is paralyzed. Since when do undead goblins hit like freight trains? It's an absolute massacre. The undead aren't stopping, taking on multiple fully armored guards at once and absolutely wiping the floor with them. Zero fear. Zero hesitation. They are killing machines. Kershaw backs up terrified, screaming that Leon is a total monster. He's having a full-blown meltdown. Watching his elite guards get treated like practice dummies, he knows he screwed up big time. Blood literally hits his cheek. Nasty. He stares at the chaotic magic filling the room and finally accepts it. His nephew is a full-blown necromancer. Desperate, he tries to spark his own magic, but this oppressive dark energy just suffocates him. He's panicking. How is this even possible? He manages to form a tiny sphere of dark magic, but it just fizzles out. He can't even dent the kid's overwhelming aura. Completely useless. He completely loses it. He points at Leon, screaming that he's disrespecting the sacred power of their founding patriarch. Leon just tilts his head. Is it really that strange for the patriarch to command the dead? Kershaw screams back that necromancy has been a dead art for centuries. There is absolutely no way. The uncle is completely losing it right now. He is screaming that not even Leon's dad had this kind of crazy power, refusing to accept the insane reality staring right at him. Leon cool as a cucumber. He basically just shrugs and says, "Don't believe me, cool. Let me give you a front row seat to the truth." And yeah, the vibe instantly shifts. Behind our boy, a literal army of undead goblins starts cracking their knuckles. This is about to get so messy. The monsters start snarling, locking their hollow eyes on the guards like it is an all-you-can-eat buffet. Go time. The horde swarms in with terrifying speed. Kershaw is completely surrounded, desperately throwing his hands up as a wave of rotting monsters crashes down on him. In pure panic mode, the uncle tries to flex his magic, chucking a ball of dark energy right at them. He is yelling at them to go back to the abyss, classic villain dialogue, right? The blast hits a goblin dead on, and does absolutely nothing. Okay, half the monster got blown away, but get this, it instantly knits back together. Kershaw's smug little smile completely drops. Bone, flesh, and muscle snap right back into place. Insane regeneration stats on these guys. Good as new and twice as angry. You can actually see the cursed soul burning inside the energy orb ready for round 2. The monster lunges claws digging straight in. Kirchel lets out this pathetic shriek as the attack connects perfectly. Somebody help, he cries out, begging his guards to save him. Plot twist, they are a little busy right now. He glares at the undead, trying to look tough. Then, a guard's severed head literally rolls right up to his boots. Perfect comedic timing, honestly. Now he is just mad. He spins up another dark energy ball, hoping for a miracle to save his own skin. He starts blasting, but it is totally useless. Even he has to admit his magic skills are basically entry-level garbage. So what does he do? Screams at Leon, throwing empty threats about how he will pay for this betrayal. Mid-sentence, bam, a goblin rushes in, completely ignoring the monologue, and swings a rusted blade straight at him. Direct hit. The blade sinks right into his chest, cutting off his little speech with a choked gasp. He looks down, eyes wide. Blood is pouring out, hitting the floor. Reality check, delivered. He is staggering, trying to hold on to his magic, but the energy sphere literally shatters in his hand like cheap glass. Spitting blood, he curses his nephew. How dare you turn on your own family? The absolute hypocrisy of this guy. Leon is not even fazed. He quotes some history book talking about how the world only remembers 2 things, winners and losers. Coughing up blood, the uncle sneers. What, giving me a lecture now? Leon just looks at him, totally deadpan, explaining that even without feelings, he likes to understand how things work. Kirchel is barely breathing at this point, but he is forced to listen to this absolute roast. Forgiveness, Leon says, walking closer. That is a prize only the winner gets to hand out. And hey, you used to be a winner once. Like that time you stabbed my dad in the back to save your own skin. Oh, Kirchel absolutely hates that. He is screaming for Leon to shut his... Our boy just raises his hand. No sweet goodbyes here. He just genuinely hopes the old man suffers. Clutching his book, Leon makes it official. This exact moment, the ultimate humiliating defeat his uncle will take to the grave. Time for the execution. With one flick of his wrist, he sends the whole undead squad in to finish the job. He claims it all in the name of the patriarch, watching coldly as it happens. A dull thud. The uncle's hand drops. Game totally over. Marbus is just watching from the sidelines, basically thinking, yep, this kid is completely out of his mind. The demon is genuinely baffled though. How is a total beginner pulling off this kind of high-level magic? Leon just stares at the corpse, completely silent. But then, a spark lights up in his eyes. A super creepy villainous smirk spreads across his face. He just thought of something hilarious. Marbus immediately sweats. Knowing Leon hilarious probably means absolutely terrifying for everyone else. Meanwhile, cut to the fancy council room. A bunch of old guys in robes are groaning about being called to another emergency meeting. Why did Kirchel drag us here this time, one asks. The guy next to him just shrugs. Nobody has a clue. The tension in the room is thick. One noble starts panicking, thinking the rival family is about to declare war and break their peace treaty. Chill out, will you? Another counselor sighs, telling the guy to take off his tinfoil hat. He points out that going to war means getting the king's rubber stamp first, so they all decide to just sit tight and wait for the boss to show up. Creak. The heavy double doors finally swing open, cutting off all the gossiping instantly. But it is not the uncle. Our main character strolls in, taking his sweet time. The nobles immediately start whispering, giving him the nastiest side-eye. One of the old guys actually has the nerve to speak up. What are you doing here, kid? Another whispers, wondering if the brat is trying to start a fight with his uncle. Leon says nothing, just soaking in the drama. He stares them down, zero intimidation factor working against him. With total confidence, he asks, "What were you guys waiting for my uncle?" He pulls out a chair, casually taking a seat. Yeah, about him. He is not going to make it. Absolute legendary mic drop. No, wait, scratch that, he corrects himself. It's more accurate to say he physically cannot attend. The counselors, completely lost. One actually asks him to clarify. Taking his seat, Leon drops the absolute coldest bomb: his uncle is dead. Jaws hit the floor. The elders simply cannot believe what they are hearing. Then he casually adds, "I killed him, by the way." Fingers laced together, he looks around. Any of you have something to say? Pure deafening silence. These old men just stare at the young lord, their brains completely short-circuiting. Still quiet. Until bam. One guy slams the table, jumping to his feet. Absolutely furious, he demands a real explanation from Leon, not just vague words. "How dare you?" he yells, demanding to know how Leon could possibly justify killing their most important elder. Another elder chimes in, nodding aggressively. Yeah, at the very least he owes them an explanation for this madness. Leon just stares them down, ice cold. He is completely ready to drop the truth bomb about his uncle. Turns out, dear old Kirchel, a massive traitor. Not only did he backstab Leon's father, but he literally handed out family secrets to their enemies. The counselor gasps. Treason. They act like they cannot believe such a heavy accusation. But Leon flips the script. "Funny how loyal you guys are," he says. "The man committed a crime punishable by death, yet you still defend him. Suddenly, it clicks for one of the elders. Wait a minute. This entire meeting was called in Kirchhoff's name. Another sweats, thinking the old man was an absolute idiot for losing. Whispering in panic, one elder warns that they absolutely cannot drop their guard now. He furiously calculates in his head. How on earth did this kid take down Kirchhoff without any outside backup? Time for the rats to jump ship. A guy stands up, acting totally innocent, and immediately starts cursing Kirchhoff's name for such a massive betrayal. Another noble gulps loudly. You can practically smell the fear as he processes this absolute nightmare. Total panic sets in. He jumps up, swearing he had nothing to do with it, Leon, just tapping his fingers. Watching them squirm. Shut up. His voice cuts through the room. He points the finger right back at them, accusing them of gross negligence for missing the traitor entirely. And that is when a counselor realizes the terrifying truth. The kid played them. This whole thing is a trap. One brave or stupid man demands actual proof of this so-called treason. Leon. Total silence. He doesn't even justify that with an answer. He just sighs. You know, someone way smarter than me predicted you would react exactly like this. He looks to his side and boom, this little creature named Marbos pops out on his shoulder, just smiling, grabbing some mental popcorn for the drama. Eyes practically glowing, he gears up for phase 2. You want proof, Leon agrees. He gets ready to put Kirchhoff's betrayal on full display. With a single spell, he completely swallows the room in this heavy, suffocating dark energy. Reaching out his hand, he announces himself as the true heir of House Marbos. Then he drops the name of a cursed soul that terrifies the entire continent. Shadows twist and undead goblins crawl out, totally obedient to his commands. Whipping out the Necronomicon, he starts chanting the spell's dark incantation. One elder recognizes the magic right away. Undead summoning. Oh, he is absolutely terrified out of his mind. And then crack snap, Uncle Kirchhoff's corpse starts twisting and rising. An elder gasps. Did this kid just unlock the family's forbidden magic? Eyes bugging out of his head, the counselor is staring at a literal walking nightmare. Leon calls his uncle's name. And yep, zombie Kirchhoff gets ready to spill all the tea. How is this even possible? One guy screams. Leon looks exhausted. I am seriously getting tired of that exact question. The undead goblins shriek and step forward. A perfect, terrifying showcase of raw, unfiltered necromancy. Panic mode activated. A counselor screams to run for their lives. Frantic, another guy bolts for the exit like his pants are on fire. He tries to sprint away, but another elder violently grabs him. Except, wait. The guy holding him just drops completely dead to the floor. The counselor stares at his dead coworker in absolute shock. Terrified, he spins around and starts crying for help. Another man is literally crawling on the floor, begging the young lord for mercy. But nope, the undead drag him backward as he screams in pure terror. Leon just watches him from above, staring down with a totally dead, zero empathy gaze. Sit down, he warns. The meeting is not over for you yet. Holding up his dark book, he suggests they probably want to obey the new patriarch. With another flick of magic, the undead Kirchhoff lurches forward. But he is twisting, mutating into something way more monstrous and terrifying. Jaw, completely unhinged, looking like a horror movie boss, Kirchhoff prepares to bite. Leon steps up to conduct his little zombie interrogation. Using pure necromancy, Leon literally forces his zombie uncle to answer the million-dollar question. Zombie uncle sings like a canary. He exposes everyone who served the last patriarch. The verdict: they all betrayed him. Every single one. Boom. Confession secured. Leon turns back to the council, confirming that literally everyone in the room is guilty. Absolute chaos. One guy is sobbing, begging the young lord for forgiveness. Another aggressively offers to snitch on himself if Leon gives him a pardon. A third guy desperately asks for a chance to prove his loyalty. And right then, the undead Kirchhoff's eyes snap wide open for one final terrifying moment. Cue the chaos. Oh, and the terrified screams of the counselors in the background. Our boy stone cold. He watches the absolute massacre without blinking. Then he raises a hand, time for a little announcement. Boom. Just like that, he declares himself the brand new patriarch of the house. Clutching the literal Book of the Dead, he drops the ultimate bombshell. Necromancy. Yeah, it is officially back in business. Stepping right over the fresh corpses, he scans the room. Magic book just floating casually beside him. He pauses, clearly looking for a specific guy. Meanwhile, hiding behind a door, a poor servant practically having a heart attack at his voice. The guy peeks through the crack, sweating bullets as he stares at his terrifying new boss. Shaking like a leaf, he stutters out that the target is locked up in the dungeon for treason. Leon just nods. Lead the way. Striding down the dark halls, he follows the trembling guide straight to the cells. He stops at a door, ready for round 2. He flashes a dark little smile. Run if you want, he tells the others. But whatever happens out there, totally not his problem. The servants just freeze in pure panic. What do you even do in this situation? Slam. Door closes on the begging servants. Cut to somewhere else, entirely, some smug-looking noble strutting up to a table. He calls out to his boss, holding what looks like breaking news. Sliding over a freshly stamped letter, he mentions it literally just dropped. The Lord takes it, putting on his best serious thinking face. Ripping it open, he scans the intel. His eyes dart across the page as he takes in the juicy new details. And cue the villainous smirk, he absolutely loves this. Turns out the royal family completely threw House Marbus under the bus. The sidekick totally agrees. Honestly, they were practically nobodies to begin with anyway. Their money and army, a total joke, the guy sneers. Reading further, the boss laughs. It is actually way worse than they thought. Bam, he slams his hand on the desk. Everything is going perfectly according to the master plan. He casually drops that House Marbus is getting completely wiped out next month. He checks if his guy is ready and gets an instant yes. Smirking, the boss asks if anything could possibly go wrong. The advisor chuckles. Only if some crazy, overpowered necromancer randomly spawns in right now. Oh man, he literally claims the chances of that happening are absolute zero. The Lord shoots him a cocky side eye. They are so incredibly sure of their massive incoming win. Oh yeah, they think this war is already in the bag. Meanwhile, back in the literal dungeon, a ragged prisoner is screaming for our main character. On his knees, the guy is practically crying, apologizing for letting Uncle Kershaw get so power-hungry. He flat out demands the death penalty for messing up. Leon just stares down at the broken knight. Sir Pauland. He knows this guy is basically the last genuinely loyal dude they have left. Grabbing his arm, Leon literally pulls him back to his feet. We have got work to do and I need you alive. Pauland is absolutely stunned. Like, how could a massive screw-up like him even help now? Looking like absolute garbage, the knight hangs on to every single word. Leon tells him to go wash off the dungeon stink first. Walking away, he casually mentions they will talk business up in the main office. Try not to cry, Pauland. The guy beams with pure gratitude and drops a hardcore vow of absolute eternal loyalty on the spot. Scene change. Up in the fancy office, Leon and the creature Marbus chill by the window. The tiny beast jumps right onto his shoulder, getting comfy. Resting a little paw on its chin, it gives him this super curious side eye. So what is the game plan? It asks. The little demon is totally leaving. The big brain moves up to its new boss. Cut to Pauland completely losing his mind, failing to grasp the insane strategy. Reaching out to the Sylvester family pure suicide mission, arms crossed, Pauland argues they would need to pull off the greatest acting job in history. Leon just holds out a hand. You think I cannot pull this off? Boom. Dark magic flares up. A literal shadow creeps right out of the floorboards, stretching and morphing into the shape of a full-grown man. The smoke clears and holy hell, it is an absolute perfect clone of his dead Uncle Kershaw. The zombie uncle locks eyes with Pauland, locked and loaded for the mission. Pauland is just sweating. How is his boss this ridiculously chill? It finally hits him. Leon is completely breaking the entire power scale. A crazy smile spreads across the knight's face. The necromancy rumors, 100% real. Leon just gives that calm I told you so look. If House Marbus had this power before, they would have ruled the world. Coughing awkwardly, Pauland tries to act professional again. Still totally shook by the magic, he points out a flaw. Yeah, a puppet zombie might trick the bad guys for a minute. But zombies are terrible actors. They cannot perfectly copy handwriting or personality. Lion drops a bomb. This isn't some undead made from Kershaw's corpse. Nope, he explains, it's just the shape of a doppelganger he found. He says this freak can totally steal appearances and memories. Suddenly, the thing starts sucking in this dense ball of dark energy. Lion just watches from the side, completely silent. Flashback time. A bloody dagger gleams in the dark. Then the hallway torch dies, dropping everything into pitch-black nothingness. Panting hard, he slumps against the wall, barely surviving that monster brawl. Taking a heavy breath, he asks if that thing even had a name. The creature speaks up, its name was literally Doppelganger. Marbus jumps in, explaining the copycat trick. Apparently, this creep loves mimicking poor travelers who wander off the beaten path. In the end, it completely devours the original person plus all their traveling buddies. Arms crossed, Lion thinks hard about this creepy enemy. Marbus just smirks, noting the apple really doesn't fall far from the tree. Out of nowhere, the undead girl gets up, radiating fresh, dark power. Her body twists, mutating into a way deadlier form. Flashing a wicked grin, it actually starts commenting on his family bloodline. Dripping with dark energy, the monster gets ready for a fight. The new undead minion steps up, waiting for orders. Looking sideways, Lion asks if this upgrade should satisfy him. Marbus grins wide, telling him to absolutely be thrilled about it. He explains the monster can only copy faces it's personally seen. Then he asks if our guy accepts this insane new power deal. Lion turns away, fully reminded that despite his natural talent, he's still a total newbie. Marbus suggests bailing out before his uncle's soul completely fades to dust. But Lion shuts him down with a hard no. Hand on his chest, he firmly refuses to abandon his family legacy. He won't let innocent people get completely massacred or enslaved by their ruthless enemies. Would he risk his life? He'd straight up die for them. Marbus naturally questions this crazy loyalty, trying to figure out his real endgame. But our boy decides there's way more urgent stuff to handle first. A new shadow beast crawls straight out of the floor, combat ready. He immediately commands it to become his newest undead soldier. Marbus drops some lore. This was one of Welland's old servants. He completely warns the boss that taming this wild thing won't be easy. Suddenly, the magic symbol on his book lights up completely. Using the spellbook, Lion literally drags a dead soul right back into the world of the living. The raw energy clumps together, fully building the shadow beast's physical body. It stands incredibly tall, completely ready to fight. Its glowing eyes lock onto the young lord with pure defiance. Marbus smacks the creature upside the head to wake it up, announcing its new boss. Super annoyed, Marbus heavily orders the beast to shapeshift so they can actually chat. The creature thinks for a second, then gets a bright idea for a makeover. Clasping its hands, it preps for a total visual overhaul. Dark shadows completely swallow the monster, transforming it super fast. It totally copies the young lord's face, staring right back with absolute disgust. Marbus loses his mind, screaming if it wants to die. The creature just casually claps back, saying it's literally already dead. Rocking the exact same face, the creature stands beside the young lord. Pullen chimes in, suggesting Kurt's memories could totally help them scam the Sylvesters. He swears the crazy plan will work, and promises to smoothly handle the heavy lifting. Smiling Lion totally admits that's exactly what he wanted to hear. Pullen then firmly asks to throw one final question at his new boss. Why stay here when it's so incredibly dangerous? With his back turned, Lion seriously remembers Marbus telling him to run away. He answers that protecting this massive house is his absolute duty, end of story. Shocked, Pullen instantly pledges absolute loyalty right then and there. Asked why he's so insanely stubborn, Lion casually admits he thought about it a lot. He confesses he definitely lacks some grand noble purpose, just holding personal doubts. He doesn't have the full answer yet, he just desperately needs time. Smiling slightly, he takes a seat, completely ready to keep chatting. Basically, he has to completely crush anyone trying to rob them. He figures that by dodging his dad's massive mistakes, he'll eventually find his true answer. Flashing a slight grin, he looks genuinely pleased with his reflection. The creature then roasts the family, claiming the house really fell off hard. Super annoyed, Marbus yells at it for lacking basic respect toward the boss. Confused, it points out that Lord Marbus himself acts totally casual all the time anyway. Clearing his throat awkwardly, Marbus asks if it's always this incredibly bad at reading the room. Agreeing, the creature wonders how Marbus knew that exact flaw. Turns out it actually used to be the original founder, Welland's personal familiar. Basically, this guy was a literal family heirloom. Marbus breaks it down for him. Crow used to be this insanely loyal, top-tier assassin serving his ancestors back in the day. Our boy thinks it over. Honestly, a shape-shifting assassin, that is just an incredibly overpowered skill set. Marbus actually praises Crow's skills as super useful. No joke, Leon admits he absolutely needs this guy's wild transformation abilities to pull off his master plan. He straight up asks if Crow can cosplay as his dead uncle. Marbus immediately roasts him for the weird phrasing, calling him a total idiot. Super annoyed by this banter, the demon groans. Why even bother wasting good taste on basic human sweets? Leon just smirks. Hey, to each their own right, but then knock knock. Someone's at the door, completely ruining their plotting session. Caught off guard, he whips around. Who is it? From the hallway. Polland clears his throat and announces himself looking for the head honcho. He hands over a super official letter. Says it came straight from the Sylvester family, which is why he ran it over personally. Let's read this thing. Oh boy. It accuses his family of totally ditching their royal duties, basically calling them out for leeching off the commoners. And the kicker, the Sylvesters are straight up declaring a noble war against his family. The ultimatum is simple. Surrender right now and nobody gets hurt. Refuse, they march their army in and completely flatten absolutely everything in sight. Taking in those threats, our duo just analyzes the situation. Marbus gets super serious, this mess is heading their way, and fast. The demon asks if our boy is terrified. They only have 30 days, but Leon just cuts him off. He totally got the wrong idea. Dark energy flares up around him. He is more than ready to answer this ridiculous challenge. He literally sets the letter on fire. Wait a month, yeah right. He has zero patience for that. Marbus calls him an absolute psycho, warning him about their massive army. Even so, the demon has to ask, is he seriously planning to solo an entire army? Cue the villainous smirk. Our boy says they'll be perfectly fine, and then drops the hardest line, zero mercy this time. He is going to wipe them all out. Meanwhile, out in the streets, total gossip mill. Everyone's whispering about the uncle vanishing. One dude actually feels bad for the young lord. Another citizen is panicking about the incoming war. But someone else points out, hey, he's his father's son. The kid will definitely survive. Plus, one guy rationally points out that the enemy forces won't be breaching their walls anytime soon anyway. Ahem, Pollen totally crashes their little rumor party, making everyone freeze in their tracks. He gives them the classic warning, loose lips, sink ships, guys. As Leon and Paulin stroll through the crowd, they keep a close eye on the locals. Panicking, the commoners immediately bow down. They swear they were just chatting. One guy even apologizes for the tragic family loss, calling it a total disaster. But get this, Leon hits them with a massive lie. Dead, nope. He tells them his beloved uncle is totally alive, just super sick and stuck in bed. Flashing a completely fake angelic smile, he tells the guys to chill out and not worry. Classic mind games. You want to fool your enemies, start by tricking your own people. He then quietly tells Paulin to shut down any loose rumors. Paulin is confused, why are they even downtown? Leon just casually mentions there is a specific little something he has to check out personally. Right on cue, Marbus chimes in. Target located. The demon can feel an absolutely insane wave of magic leaking out from a building up ahead. They stand back for a second, just taking in this massive, shady-looking establishment from afar. He tells his right-hand man to stay put. Lock the doors behind him because our main character is going in completely solo. Dead serious now, he orders Paulin to block all the exits. Nobody gets past him. Pushing the heavy doors open, he steps right into the unknown. Inside absolute disaster zone. Smashed tables everywhere, and yeah, those are definitely fresh bloodstains. Some guys are busy sweeping up the wreckage. Suddenly, one dude's animal ears twitch. He senses Leon instantly. Our boy asks if that's the guy, and the demon confirms it. Covered in brutal scars, this guy clearly isn't some rookie. He screams veteran fighter. Kneeling in the dirt, he's totally shredded but beaten down. The demon literally sighs furious that such god-tier potential is scrubbing floors. Leon casually walks over to have a chat, but the guy just bows his head, apologizing for the massive brawl that trashed the place. Meanwhile, the super sketchy owners of this dump are glaring at them from the shadows. Out of nowhere, bam! The crazy lady owner kicks the beastman, screaming at him for daring to talk to a noble. Then she turns and aggressively apologizes to Leon. She glares at the beastman like he's absolute garbage. Smack, she literally slaps him right across the face, calling him a filthy mutt. She yells at him to show respect to the Lord. Keeping his head buried, the poor guy mumbles an apology, saying he had no clue. Leon completely ignores the crazy lady. He looks at the beastman. Like I said, I need a word. The arrogant owner butts in, acting all sweet, saying she's totally available to talk. Leon just drops an absolute ice-cold rejection. He doesn't care about her. He makes it crystal clear he's here for the beastman, not some random manager. Why? Because according to his demon, this guy's power ceiling is completely broken. Still on his knees, the bruised and battered warrior just stares blankly at the floorboards. But internally, he's totally shocked. He looks up, wondering how on earth this tiny kid is actually the terrifying boss of a noble house. Leon reaches out, just casually summons a glowing sphere of healing energy. The beastman completely stunned. He has zero idea what's going on as this warm light wraps around him, stitching up his worst injuries right before his eyes. Those massive gashes across his chest, gone, fully closed. He just stares, wondering if this young lord really just saved his life out of nowhere. Our boy Leon just smiles, asks very politely if they can finally have that chat. Enter the villain. This woman glares at them, completely suspicious, and immediately ruins the moment. She claims the beastman is her personal property. Oh, she's got nerve. She tells Leon he needs to beg her for permission to speak to him. Leon thinks back. Funny she wasn't acting this tough when he was dealing with his uncle. Smiling, he decides it's interrogation time. First question, since when did the Marbus territory ever allow slavery? Second question, why does she keep using his pathetic childhood title? He closes his eyes, and suddenly, everything clicks. Her mask slips, pure rage. We get a quick flash, two shadowy guys brewing something sketchy over a cauldron. Leon challenges her straight up. Does she not recognize the true head of the family? And Marbus, oh, he's loving this. He practically grins, hyping up his bold new contractor. The demon makes it crystal clear. Disrespect his pact holder, not happening. He turns that terrifying gaze on the woman. Zero mercy. He drops the ultimatum: free every single slave right now. She gets exactly 10 minutes. No extensions. But get this, she just smirks right back at him. She actually asks if he's ready for the fallout, mocking him, acting like she just accidentally forgot his title again. Leon just leans on the beastman and shrugs. Honestly, he's survived way worse trash talk. The beastman is still reeling. Why is this noble being so kind to him? What did he even do to earn this? Snap, Leon signals the next move. And right on cue, a squad of armed mercenaries surrounds them. They charge in, screaming, weapons drawn. Leon doesn't even flinch, just crosses his arms like he's totally bored. He stretches out one hand. Black liquid energy spills across the floor. The summoning has begun. Out of that darkness, undead goblins, crawling up from the shadows, hungry for a fight. Total massacre. The goblins absolutely tear into the mercenaries, cue the screaming. The woman just stands there, completely paralyzed by shock. Leon casually walks up to one of his monsters. His own dagger is busted, so he politely asks to borrow a blade. He grabs the weapon, promises to give it back when he's finished cleaning house. New sword in hand, our boy jumps right into the chaos. One perfectly clean strike and a mercenary hits the dirt. The woman is losing her mind right now. How did the family's biggest disappointment suddenly become this unstoppable monster? From the sidelines, the Beastman is watching the whole thing unfold with his jaw on the floor. Leon turns back to him to answer that earlier question. Sure, the world sees him as a slave, but to Leon, he is an absolute game changer. The Beastman can't wrap his head around it. He's just an outcast. The entire continent hates him. What value could he possibly have? Flashback time. We see him shoved face first into the mud, pleading for mercy, begging for someone to help him. Just a kid on the ground, while a mob of angry villagers surround him, blaming his race for their dead crops. Back then, it made zero sense. Why were the human kids so incredibly cruel to him? He was just a little kid. None of this blind hatred computed. His eyes shift heavy with years of trauma. But looking back now, the brutal truth is finally clear. He remembers screaming until his throat went raw, just wanting to be left alone. Their only reason for hating him, he wasn't like them. Pure, unadulterated rage. He explodes with latent energy, crying out against the unfairness of it all. Tears streaming down his face, lost in those dark memories. He was just way too innocent to see how twisted the world really was. Terrified, he looked at the destruction. Did he do that? He couldn't even accept his own terrifying potential at first. Snap back to reality. The woman is still staring down an army of undead goblins flanking our main character. She's practically shrieking now. What did he do? Does he really think he can win Leon ice cold? Doesn't even blink. He just looks at her and admits, yeah, maybe she was right about his past. But he raises a hand. The days of being a trash tier lord over. Magic flaring around him, he declares he is stepping up as the true head of the family. He points dead at her. The command is ready to drop. Flashing a dangerous smile, he tells her bluntly she's not surviving to see his new empire. She's cursing him out completely, losing her mind over his disrespect. Standing in a literal pool of blood, Leon turns back to the Beastman. And that look from the slave. Absolute, undeniable respect. Crazy part, Leon's totally a killer. But our guy's zero fear. Kneeling there, he's baffled. Why isn't he terrified right now? Then Leon smiles, calls the Beastman by his actual name, Walter, and just asks for help. He basically says, I need your Beastman skills for my master plan. But wait, before swearing loyalty, Walter needs to ask one crucial thing. Cloaked in his intense aura, he stands up to explain his whole messy backstory. Tribal marks on his face, looking dead serious at our young lord. He drops the truth, he's a demon wolf cub. Basically, the most hated existence ever. Looking absolutely crushed, he asks, how much longer must he live completely disgraced? Leon's response, that stops right now. He promises a total reset. Eyes locked on the young Lord, Walter hangs onto every single word. Leon admits he doesn't know his exact struggle, but he definitely gets the pain. His ruling, from this exact second, all that prejudice is completely banned. Then comes the massive offer. Become a trusted vassal for House Marbus. Walter just stares, trying to process this absolutely insane offer. Hand outstretched, Leon gives his word right there, totally sealing the epic promise. Actual tears welling up now. Walter takes in this life-changing vow. Flashing a confident smile, Leon doubles down. You're my vassal now. Standing tall, he gives his absolute word, locking down the alliance between them. Openly weeping at this point, Walter is overwhelmed by this second chance. Deal accepted. He grabs the young lord's hand with pure, raw gratitude. Leon chuckles, guessing that silence means yes. Crying his eyes out, Walter practically shouts that he'd be absolutely thrilled to serve him. Meanwhile, cut to a massive sunny castle. Total vibe shift. Inside this ridiculously huge hall, some guy approaches the Emperor's literal throne. Meet Emperor Esteban of the mighty Archime Empire, chilling on his throne. Right beside him, Louis, the crown prince of this absurdly massive territory. The prince demands to know why this guy interrupted them. Bowing super low, the messenger reveals a shiny new letter from House Sylvester. Prince Louis rolls his eyes. Like, why should he care about some lowly count? The Emperor dead silent, watching like a hawk. Still kneeling, the messenger promises he's only here to drop some seriously amazing news. Begging for mercy, he nervously waits for the prince's reaction. He's sweating bullets, terrified of pissing off the most powerful dude in the entire empire. But Louis smirks. Wait, are you talking about House Marbus right now, Bingo? The guy confirms it. They've been his ultimate target for years now. He pitches a team-up support House Sylvester and crush their mutual enemy together. Louis grins like a villain. Now that's an idea he actually likes. But here's the catch. House Marbus literally controls necromancy. Fighting zombie armies. Not fun. The messenger explains they don't have an heir who can actually use it, hearing that the prince instantly greenlights the mission to wipe them out. Order secured. The vassal sprints out of the hall to get things moving. Louis smirks. Finally, he can pluck out that annoying thorn. But catch this. The Emperor is watching his own son with some serious suspicion right now. Reaching out, the prince is already plotting to steal the absolute throne. Gripping his dad's shoulders, he whispers that everything will be his soon. Yikes. Meanwhile, back at the desk, Leon gathers his brand new squad for a chat. Pollen throws an idea Walter needs a magical artifact to hide his identity. Slapping the item around his neck, he tunes in to Leon's next commands. Boom, the artifact morphs into a straight-up collar. Perfect disguise achieved. Pollen fiercely warns him do not mess up the Lord's big plans. Nodding in approval, he loves the young guy's street smarts and quick obedience. Alright, serious mode engaged. Leon says it's time to talk business with the crew. Step 1, everyone's gotta swear their official oaths of loyalty. Are you guys ready to pledge your absolute lives to me, Pollen? He literally jumps at the chance without a single second of hesitation. Grabbing Leon's hands like a fanatic, he swears his entire existence to House Marbus. Literally bawling his eyes out, the old guy begs for the chance to serve. Meanwhile, this dark creature floating nearby is completely stunned that Leon tamed him so easily. The spirit Marbus just nods. Total domination is basically our family motto anyway. Not wanting to be left out, Walter eagerly chimes in with his own loyalty pledge. Facing his hyped-up minions, Leon readies up for Phase 2. The dark creature just shrugs, hey, those are your weird rules, not mine. But before kicking off, Leon drops a bomb time for a mana pact. He puts it bluntly, refuse this, and you're officially off the team forever. Blinking in confusion, Walter asks what the heck a mana pact actually does. So a mana pact basically turns raw magic into a binding pattern. It links them, letting them share every single dark secret without any filters. Getting up from his seat, Leon strikes a pose to start this crazy ritual. Standing before his loyal followers, he's ready to lock this in permanently. Seeing zero complaints from the peanut gallery, he officially kicks off the pact. With one epic hand gesture, dark magic explodes outward to start the spell. Then it literally shapes into a glowing contract just waiting for signatures. The glowing scroll unrolls before them. Time to sign up. Walter's just staring at this scroll brain completely buffering. Then boom, Marbus drops the disguise and his true terrifying power explodes. The absolute god of the household steps up. He's making it official, he's witnessing this crazy pact. He lays out the absolute rules. Your souls, yeah, they belong to his domain now. Then he demands everyone bow to their brand new ruler. Dark energy swirling everywhere, he literally crowns him the absolute sovereign of the undead. Epic. Marbus is absolutely massive, taking up the entire hall. Pollen and Walter jaws firmly on the floor. Total shock. But Lion just sighs. Okay, enough of the dramatic theater. He steps right up, claiming these guys as his own loyal crew. Eyes shut, Marbus takes that as a solid yes. But he drops a heavy warning, the entry fee is literally their souls. Pollen drops to a bow instantly. Treason. Not happening. He swears absolute unbreakable loyalty. Wait, is this the exact same demon the First Lord partnered with honestly? It's the only logical explanation for Leon's insane cheat-level strength. Meanwhile, Walter is absolutely sweating over the sheer suffocating density of Leon's mana. He's shaking, even with his magic senses, he's totally paralyzed. Just what kind of absolute monster is the young master really hiding inside? And just like that, the terrifying dark aura just vanishes. Poof, the giant demon shrinks back down and plops onto the floor. Walter blinks. Wait, is that a cute little kitten? Pollen instantly slaps a hand over Walter's mouth. Do not insult the death god. Too late, Marbus glares. What did you just call me right now? Panic mode, Pollen sweats, claiming they were totally just admiring his majestic aura. Marbus smirks. Oh really, he totally buys the flattery. But seriously, he orders strict silence about his true identity. Intel wins wars, right? Plus those snobby nobles barely cared about the uncle anyway. Still thoroughly confused, Walter brings up the traitor Sir Kirchall. Parda. He recalls the landlord had a special letter for that guy. But when he asks where it is, Walter draws a complete blank. Enter Crow carrying the MVP energy. He drags in a whole chest, calling them complete idiots for completely forgetting to loot the bodies. Pop the lid. Boom. Absolute jackpot of sparkling jewels and shiny loot. Smack Marbus hits Crow, calling him a greedy little loot goblin. Apparently, Crow operates on pure video game logic finders, keepers in the tavern. Digging past the shiny distractions, they frantically hunt for that mystery letter. Time to thoroughly inspect this massive pile of shiny gold. Bingo. Buried under the bling, there it is, the official sealed envelope they needed. Holding it up, he proudly declares victory over the chest. Crow throws some absolute sass, joking that Marbus is actually useful sometimes. He stands tall. Story time. He reads it out loud and wow, it's basically a highly aggressive hate mail sent directly to House Marbus. The sender flexes hard, claiming to work for the Emperor classic villain excuse. 30 days. That's the deadline for the entire house to totally surrender. Refuse. Then get ready for absolute war. Everyone turns to our boy. What's the boss gonna say to this literal death threat? He casually thinks about it. 30 days, isn't that plenty? Marbus just side-eyes him, totally unbothered. Yeah, the timing works perfectly fine. Honestly, with his insane new cheat skills, 30 days is pure playtime. Staring at his demonic pet, he formulates a totally chaotic plan. He calls Crow over ready to drop the most hilarious tactical order ever. Smirking like a total menace, Lion hands out the mission. Meanwhile, somewhere else, an absolute lackey confirms the war declaration was officially sent. The lackey cracks up, mocking Kirchhoff's incredibly pathetic, terrified face. The Lord laughs too, betting that Traitor is definitely regretting his life choices right now, but then his face drops. Dead serious. Keep that rat alive though. Because Kirchhoff, he's the perfect gullible pawn. Then he shifts gears. What about the actual heir? Where is our main boy? No news. The lackey assumes Kirchhoff already offed him. The Lord smiles like a supervillain. That's exactly what he wanted to hear. Perfect. But the lackey is confused. Why obsess over some kid? Before he can even finish, the Lord shuts him down with a deep question. What is the absolute worst, most unfair thing a human can face? The lackey just sweats. Boss, I'm literally just a goon. The Lord's eyes go totally dark. He answers his own question, standing against an absolutely unstoppable enemy with zero hope of surviving. He smirks. Pure despair. There is literally nothing worse than that. The servant scratches his head. Okay, but what causes that? The Lord's answer. Pure, unfiltered, unfair, birth-given talent. Simple as that. But what talent could that weak kid even have? The boss snaps. Are you kidding? We're talking about the legendary Wellen von Marbus bloodline. The servant instantly bows, terrified. Yes, sir, they'll prepare for absolutely any crazy twist. Meanwhile, watching this entire circus, the doppelganger is absolutely entertained. He grins, super impressed by the creature, perfectly copying his every single word. The creature flexes. Oh, please. It's got way more insane tricks than just basic magic. Furious Marbus goes totally wild, launching a blur of lightning-fast strikes at the fake. Meanwhile, Leon just grins and wipes his cheek, completely unbothered. Roaring his lungs out, Marbus completely loses it, screaming at the creature like it is literal trash. Volter, his jaw is practically on the floor watching these monsters clash, but Leon just casually waves his hand. Is it always this loud here? Gripping his blade, he drops a heavy reality check. Only 1 month left. Tossing the weapon over to Volter, the grind begins. He challenges the guy to show exactly what he is made of. Volter knows the deal messed this up and he is out. Leon shuts his eyes, straight up telling him he does not need a follower who will just die. Fists clenched tight, Volter steels himself to take on the young boss's crazy challenge. He swears to crush every obstacle just to stand by his side. Then he boldly asks for a special wish if he actually wins. Smirking, Leon locks it in, deal sealed. Right on cue, Pullen awkwardly clears his throat, stepping up to personally handle Volter's hardcore combat training. He points out that clashing with the actual knights will quickly reveal what the guy can do. With little Marbus on his shoulder, Leon turns to head out. But the creature chimes in, hey, the boss needs to level up his own powers too. Squad assembled. Together they make their way straight to the brutal training grounds. The massive castle absolutely glows in the bright daylight. Down below, pure chaos. Steel smashes against steel as intense combat practice kicks off. Going all out, these two fighters trade heavy razor-sharp strikes without holding anything back. Eyes burning with focus, Volter violently parries the knight's heavy blade. Not far away, Leon starts channeling some serious magic for his own solo session. Creeping up from the dirt, an undead skeleton, Volter does not even blink, rushing the bony menace and swinging his heavy blade. An intense aura explodes around him. One breath, then slash. He absolutely vaporizes two of those walking skeletons in a single, perfectly executed strike. Gasping for air, he catches his breath, his heavy blade planted firmly in the dirt. Dropping to one knee, he officially bows down. Right then and there, he swears absolute unwavering loyalty to his powerful new boss. Leon gladly takes him in, crowning him the very first knight of his territory. Grinning, Volter embraces the epic title, completely ready for duty. Fast forward 1 month to the epic War of Noble Houses. Tension is literally suffocating as Leon and his squad prep for battle outside. Staring down the enemy, a messenger yells that he brought a direct message for the boss. Lord Sylvester runs his mouth publicly, blasting them for refusing to give up. Leon, he just stares back deadpan. So the fight finally starts. Absolutely fuming, Pullen swears at the enemies, disgusted by their total lack of basic honor. Marbus tells him to chill out, they are just scared. Gulping nervously, Pullen seriously doubts that because the death flags are waving everywhere. He panics, pointing out the enemy literally has the high ground in every single category. Looking completely confident, Leon says there is still a clear path to win. Stunned, Pullen asks if he actually means the late Sir Kirchhoff. He sighs, admitting that if Kirchhoff were still breathing, they probably would have given up already. Marbus just chuckles. Mortals, yeah, ridiculously fragile little things. He drops some demon wisdom. Even a tiny shift in luck can create absolute glorious chaos. Pullen nods, but stresses they are hopelessly outnumbered regardless. Smiling like a villain, Marbus counters that a real top-tier master would easily crush their entire army anyway. The little monster calms him down, totally hyping up Leon. The kid is way stronger than he looks. Feeling a bit better, Pullen chuckles and agrees. Even the demon nods along, genuinely mind-blown by the young leader's insane, off-the-charts potential. Honestly, even a legendary demon is shook by his talent. Meanwhile, back on the field, Leon is charging up a completely massive mana attack. Dark energy aggressively swirls and locks right into those glowing magic crystals. Dead serious, Marbus studies his crazy progress. He taps the dirt instantly, summoning a fresh, terrifying wave of new undead targets. Bony warriors claw their way out of the earth, perfectly primed for round 2. Eyes shut tight, Leon gathers focus for the next crazy stunt. Boom! A massive flash of raw energy violently blasts all the surrounding skeletons away. The bones completely disintegrate from the magical shockwave, but the remaining ones just shriek and keep rushing forward. Phase 2 begins. Marbus thinks to himself, sure, these skeletons are low-tier trash, but the kid's crowd control absolutely flawless. He is totally amazed by how Leon reads the mana flow. The depth of his crazy talent is genuinely astounding. Crow calls the guy a literal prodigy, straight up comparing his crazy growth to the legendary First Patriarch. Marbus agrees soon enough this guy will rule everything. But then he totally ruins the moment, begging to know if that includes endless peanut snacks. Marbus bets he might even unlock crazy forbidden time reversal magic. Deep in thought, Leon zones out before slowly snapping his eyes wide open. Covered in dirt, he finally pushes himself up. The brutal training session is officially over. He glances over at tiny Marbus. The little guy just stares right back, looking incredibly nervous and highly suspicious. Bam! The last skeleton hits the dirt. Leon just smirks, brushes off his hands, and casually asks what's next on the menu. Training session, totally crushed it. Now he's practically begging for the next insane challenge. Marbus just sighs. Classic exhausted mentor energy. The air literally crackles as they prep for phase 2 of training. Then the creature drops a heavy question. How much do you know about dark magic? Leon locks eyes, ready to spill. Oh, he's dabbled. Picked up some tricks from his uncle. But Marbus, absolutely not having it. Ditch that garbage immediately. Honestly, Leon can't even argue. The monster makes a totally valid point. Taking over the entire continent with just some bony boys, yeah, not happening. Game face on time for the real magical deal. Exactly. Dark energy suddenly flares up all around him. Snap. Just like that, class is officially back in session. Here's the magic breakdown. Necromancy is basically just a flavor of dark arts. A pitch-black sphere hovers right in his palm. Enter Polland. The guy is literally glowing with pride, gushing about the legendary progenitor's loyal crew. Marbus scoffs at that. Vassal, please. We were friends. The creature just smirks, claiming he's living regret-free, unlike a certain someone. Oh, shots fired. Marbus snaps back, accusing him of playing games using Leon's face. Leon just interrupts their bickering. What's the actual lesson? But wait. Marbus drops the catch. There's a massive hurdle to clear before they can even start. Leon is completely lost. The objective. A little trip straight into his own mind. Yeah, you heard that right. Our boy is visibly confused. Like, why go diving into my head? Because get this, his brain is basically an ocean of untapped mana. Unlock that and winning this war, a total walk in the park. The downside, dark magic chugs mana like crazy. Leon's face goes dead serious. He kind of figured that out already. But Marbus tells him to chill out. Turns out, this kid's energy reserves are absolutely off the charts, easily matching or beating the original master's power. Huge sigh of relief. That is literally the best news he's heard all day. There's always a catch, right? It's highly dangerous and survival isn't guaranteed. Leon just raises an eyebrow. Alright, what's this crazy plan? The creature flashes this wicked plotting grin. Time to drop the absolute bomb. Knowing what makes our hero tick, Marbus explains step 1. Drain every single drop of his mana until he's completely running on fumes. Pure potential leading the way. The trial is officially on. Honestly, the kid's sheer hunger for strength is what makes him so terrifying. And let's be real, that obsession with getting stronger, that's the ultimate recipe for success. The shadows finally fade out. Explanation over. Leon grabs his head, feeling the heavy toll, muttering that he completely gets the picture. Suddenly wobble. He almost eats dirt, but Polland is right there, completely screaming his lungs out. The guy is having a full-on meltdown about losing their leader. Marbus is so done with the drama, snapping at him to have some faith. Cue the waterworks. Polland is literally sobbing, whining that their great lord is still just a kid. Somebody ask if this guy was even listening. Marbus just chuckles. For once, Crow actually makes total sense in this chaotic situation. Eyes drifting shut, our boy confidently whispers that he'll bounce back. With his insane talent, guaranteed. Sniffling like a total mess, Polland promises to try and chill out. Right on cue, Walter bursts in, totally pumped about his sword practice. Then he spots the boss passed out on the floor. Instant panic mode. He rushes over, completely losing his mind, thinking they're under attack. Both drop to their knees. A little pathetic, but their absolute faith in him, kind of touching. Meanwhile, Marbus is just shaking his head. How did nobody notice this monster-level talent? No wonder this whole family was completely falling apart. Back in the real world, our guy is completely knocked out. But inside, he wakes up in this pitch-black, infinite void. Just floating. He glances around the endless, empty space. Wait a second. Something is definitely hiding out there. He moves toward this faint, distant glow. And as the shape gets clearer, it's literally a younger version of himself. Freaky, right? The figure gives him this warm welcome, saying he's been waiting for this exact moment. Leon is absolutely shook, staring in total silence. The guy just keeps that gentle, knowing smile. Then he casually asks for a stroll. Apparently they've got some massive catching up to do. The realization hits him like a truck. Still totally bewildered, the word finally slips out. Dad. The scene shifts to total devastation. A massive city completely reduced to rubble. Just the two of them standing amidst the epic wasteland. He approaches his dad, chilling on some broken stairs. The old man speaks up. Showing up here means he's finally ready to unlock that power. Our boy nods, though he's brutally honest. He's got zero clue if he's doing this right. He starts bragging a little. Hey, I've got my own loyal squad now. His dad smiles warmly. Then comes the twist. He's just a magical recording. Everything clicks. Leon gives a firm nod. He finally understands this crazy situation. His dad admits the brutal truth. His lack of talent ultimately killed him. But get this, he can still help out. Flashback time. Dad couldn't earn the respect of Marbus or the Necronomicon. Total failure. So he warns his son, you've got to forge a completely different path. Grabbing his boy by the shoulders, he drops a bombshell. He actually created a mana inheritance spell. And why? To help him lock down his absolute power as the new head of the family. But Leon hesitates. He remembers the old rule, stealing mana is incredibly dangerous. The magic could completely spiral out of control and permanently fry his brain. Dad smiles, realizing he was listening. Absorbing magic, not exactly a walk in the park. But Leon, he is the ultimate exception. A total blank slate. Confused, our boy just blinks. A blank slate, what does that even mean? Here is the crazy part. Since their ancient founder, nobody ever had mana this ridiculously pure. Suddenly, Dad concentrates a massive power sphere over his chest. All that energy compresses into one spot, dense, unstable, and ready to blow. Staring right at his kid, he declares Leon inherited the absolute greatest gift of their entire bloodline. Out of nowhere, the energy sphere warps violently. Then boom, the thing explodes, sending massive chunks of stone everywhere. The shockwave just keeps going, completely shattering the surrounding structures to pieces. Surrounded by this overwhelming force, Dad tells him, this is your true self. Never forget it. The whole dimension starts quaking from the sheer flex. Leon just watches in awe, while his dad just stands there smiling. He gently pats Leon on the head. Standing under that massive ball of energy, he announces that their little reunion time is up for now. Glancing away, Leon asks the real question. Will they ever meet again? Dad nods. Oh yeah, he still has much more to teach him. Reaching out, he grabs that terrifying floating sphere of power, and then he transfers it right into Leon's chest. Leon gasps. He has never ever felt magical force this absolutely unbelievable. The energy violently tornadoes around his body. Slowly but surely, that overpowered core absorbs completely right into his chest. Explaining the amulet, Dad drops the lore. It is called greed. And trust me, it devours everything. Passing the artifact, he begs his son to always remember. Leon grips it tight. I will definitely remember, father. Suddenly, the ground right under them cracks wide open. Flashing one last smile, Dad promises they will reunite when Leon's heart truly needs it most. With a deep bow, Leon says goodbye to his dad, who secretly hopes that day comes soon. Left completely alone, our boy floats on a broken chunk of rock. Meanwhile, his dad's fading thoughts echo, if wishes were real, his son would truly shine. But here is the tragic part. The future, he absolutely cannot see it. So he has zero idea if this insane power brings ultimate glory or total downfall. His absolute biggest fear, that the outcome will be the worst possible. Cut to the real world. 4 nervous figures watch someone lying down. Back in the room, Leon finally opens his eyes. Pacing around, a worried guy with a mustache nervously asks the master, is the kid actually going to survive? He is freaking out. Leon is only 14. What if there are permanent effects? Marbus shuts that down instantly. Stop panicking and have some faith. A silver-haired kid agrees, our lord will totally overcome this obstacle. Even the creepy shadow creature chimes in. This old servant stresses out way too much over absolutely nothing. Out of nowhere, pure dark energy starts pouring off Leon's resting body. Seeing this, Marbus smiles. Ah, so that is exactly why he took so long. Shocked, the kid steps back. What kind of insane magical force is that? Nobody has ever seen it. Marbus casually hops onto the bed, getting comfy right on Leon's chest. Smirking, he announces, our boss is making his grand return shortly. Standing guard, he drops a warning. This new patriarch, not the boy they knew. And right on cue, Leon's eyes snap wide open. Sitting straight up, he shoots a dead serious glare right at his loyal watching vassals. His gaze sharp as a blade, analyzing the entire room. Then he sighs. Why does my chest feel so heavy? Hey master, get off me. Meanwhile, the silver-haired kid busts his back, deflecting dangerous energy blasts, his partner Leon casually tossing mana spheres just for training. Fast forward to the main hall. Leon is already in charge, barking orders at some heavily armed guards. Scene change. Welcome to House Sylvester exactly 4 days before the war. Outside the castle, a massive army stands in tight formation. Chilling on his throne, the head of the house watches everything with intense focus. Suddenly he stands. The time has finally arrived. Stepping out onto the balcony, he orders every single soldier of House Sylvester to listen up. Time for the epic villain speech. He declares that the proud history of House Marbus will completely turn to dust. Screaming, he commands them to follow his lead and completely rewrite history. Raising his fist, an older veteran shouts back, "Absolute glory to House Sylvester." Boom, his eyes flash with power and pure dark energy begins pouring straight from his body. High above, a red-eyed crow stalks its prey. Down below, a squad of heavily armored knights creeps through a foggy, chilling graveyard. Checking out the vibe, a guy whispers, "Jackpot, they found the enemy's blind spot." Hearing this, the boss pats Kirchel on the back for his solid intel. Kirchel just shrugs it off, saying he's merely returning a favor for past kindness. But seriously, the leader scoffs. Why leave a whole graveyard practically unguarded? Kirchel points out the obvious, they're necromancers. They don't exactly trash their own playgrounds. Sylvester just snorts, mocking their desperate attempt at saving face. Giving him some major side-eye, Kirchel mutely nods along. Catching that awkward silence, the Lord demands if he's got a problem. Sitting tall on his mount, Kirchel plays dumb. Nope, nothing to add here. He casually suggests they push ahead. But hold up. Sylvester suddenly yanks his reins, staring in pure shock. Way out in the clearing, an entire squad of enemy troops just chilling, waiting for them. Front and center, our main guy, Leon, and his silver-haired buddy are totally geared up. The ultimate stare-down. Both sides finally locking eyes. Leon smirks, praising the rival boss for being right on schedule. Sylvester, he is fuming. He wanted an easy target, not a full-blown army. Without missing a beat, he rips his blade from its scabbard. Spinning around, he swings right at Kirchel, screaming about betrayal. Slash, the sword goes straight through his neck, but he just turns into smoke. Then his entire figure morphs into some seriously dark magic. He smugly declares that only his true boss gets to execute him. Meanwhile, his detached head is literally just floating there, wrapped in eerie shadows. All that spooky energy swirls together like crazy. Pop He reforms perfectly, sitting back on his horse like absolutely nothing just happened. He chuckles, calling it a pretty wild ride. Sylvester is losing his mind. That strike was a clean hit. He should be dead. Back on the field, Leon's crew slowly advances. Absolutely livid, Sylvester roars that this arrogant kid is gonna pay. Seriously, he thinks he can actually win this fight with such pathetic numbers. Leon just smiles coldly. Nope, not a chance, sir. With supreme confidence, he drops the mic. Sylvester isn't even worth considering a threat. Boom. The opposing lord completely freezes, absolutely trembling with fury. Leon then asks, "Why do you think I even showed up?" He casually crushes something in his palm, dropping the mess. "Just to teach you a lesson," he says, pointing straight at the dirt. Right there, the dripping liquid bursts into gross, bubbling shadow puddles. Boom, skeletal warriors and creepy zombies erupt straight out of the earth. Sylvester panics. Wait, is this legit necromancy? Leon claps slowly. Wow, sharp as attack. Obviously we are necromancers, dude. Raising the dead is kind of our whole brand. Totally surrounded, Sylvester realizes he is staring down a literal nightmare undead horde. Flashback time. Leon's old man once asked about the world's cruelest joke. He answered it himself, going up against an unbeatable foe. That absolute despair, nothing hurts worse. And the reason behind it all, plain and simple, it all comes down to pure, natural-born talent. He calls it a terrifyingly deep gap. Bottom line, talent is the ultimate cheat code. Cut back to reality, where Sylvester's poor soldiers are getting completely wrecked by the zombie swarm. Pushing through the chaos, one brave knight manages to slice into a roaming skeleton warrior. But nope, the zombies keep swarming like a relentless tide. Sylvester scoffs. Whatever. At the end of the day, Leon is just a clueless kid. Gripping his weapon tight, he rushes straight for the young master. Clash. Out of nowhere, another blade totally intercepts his massive strike. Enter the silver-haired bodyguard. He flawlessly blocks the hit, protecting his boss. Sylvester is furious. Who on earth dares to block my path? The boy just smirks, apologizing playfully. Yeah, I can't let you touch the boss. No fear at all. He stares the veteran knight down. Meanwhile, huge stone golems are literally squashing Sylvester's backup troops like bugs. Seeing his guys getting flattened, Sylvester desperately orders his mage squad to fire. Scrambling, the wizards link up to cast a massive group spell. Magic gathers into one blinding focal point, vibrating with insane power. Bam, the spell drops, vaporizing a bunch of the Walking Dead instantly. Seeing an opening, Sylvester spins around, hyping up his front lines. Screaming the charge, he spurs his horse, diving headfirst into the undead mosh pit. Total absolute mayhem. His elite knights clash violently with the zombie horde, and Leon, just chilling in the back, enjoying the violent show. Slashing his way through the madness, Sylvester refuses to stop. Honestly, he admits to himself he's always been a pretty paranoid guy. Going even further, he confesses he never even loved his siblings. Leon laughs. Like, I care about your tragic family backstory. Meanwhile, his own fingers twitch, leaking some seriously ominous black magic. A pampered brat like you lacks the guts to defeat me, Sylvester yells. Pointing his blade, he demands is silly revenge all you're really after. The villain smirks, swearing Leon is about to die with absolutely nothing but pure regret. Enter a massive creepy book with a literal giant eye right on the cover. Unfazed, Leon just smirks back calmly, pointing out two huge embarrassing flaws in that guy's ridiculous logic. Smacking his hand down on the cover, our main character offers a little lesson. Instantly, that giant eyeball starts twitching and freaking out like absolute crazy. Just holding the thing, pitch-black energy explodes outward, completely wrapping around his entire body. Sylvester's jaw drops. Pure panic mode. But Leon, book in hand, he casually drops a bomb. He doesn't even want revenge. He just thinks Sylvester is completely pathetic. Rewind a few days. Back at camp, the squad is totally focused, huddled around a massive map to hash out this crazy battle plan. Leon is dead serious. Meanwhile, Marbus just casually licking his paw like whatever. Our furry friend admits he's heard dumber ideas, but this is still way too risky. Leon shuts that down fast. Good location or not, this is literally their only play. Playing it safe right now, he argues that would be absolutely ridiculous. The shadowy dude swears total loyalty to the master's vision. But wait, he immediately backtracks, totally confused about why some actual kid is barking orders at them. Nodding along, the silver-haired kid chimes in completely down to follow the boss's master plan. Marbus sighs, realizing he is totally outvoted here, and just rolls with it. Sensing the mood, mustache guy instantly starts yelling orders to mobilize literally every single soldier. Pushing back from the table, Leon smirks. Time to get moving. But hold up. Before heading out, he stops Marbus for a quick chat. Whipping out his mysterious amulet, Leon casually asks what kind of crazy backlash this thing packs. We finally get a totally clear, up-close look at his dad's old keepsake. Marbus just grumbles, calling the kid super annoying before dropping some lore. That tiny trinket, it actually holds an incredibly toxic, massive power way out of his current league. Leon basically says, hey, dad must have left it for a reason, which Marbus totally confirms. Sure, Leon is super strong right now. But the old master drops a harsh truth. His hidden potential is basically an unripe fruit that needs way more time. Standing there quietly, our protagonist just soaks in every single word of this lecture. And here is the real talk. Marbus warns that loyalty doesn't guarantee perfection. He straight up asks Leon why he blindly trusts these guys not to stab his back. Total silence fills the room. Leon stares right back at the old beast, taking a deep breath before finally dropping his grand, unexpected answer. Snap back to reality. That creepy eyeball book is literally practically vibrating with power. Pitch-black magic surges directly into his veins. Staring down the enemy with absolute ice in his eyes, he gets ready to unleash his absolute maximum potential. Sylvester scoffs, mocking him, "You think I cannot kill you? Big mistake." Leon's response is just a death, glare eyes literally glowing with pure, unadulterated magical rage. The pressure hits him. Sylvester stumbles backward, sweating bullets at this insane flex. Boom. A massive wave of dark aura explodes outward, swallowing the entire squad. Sylvester feels the mana. It is impossibly deep, like standing at the edge of an abyss. His brain is short-circuiting. How the heck does some kid have god-tier mana control? Leon starts chanting, summoning the actual servants of Marbus. Hearing this, Sylvester totally panics, gripping his weapon tight and bracing for whatever nightmare is about to drop. Screaming at the top of his lungs, he charges and ordering everyone to interrupt that spell. Too late, Leon finishes the chant, calling forth his squad. The earth literally starts cracking open, and an entire massive army violently tears out of the dirt. Skeletons, undead horrors, absolute monsters. They all lock into combat formation. Jaw on the floor, Sylvester cannot believe this kid's insane summoning capacity. Just like that, the new Nightmare Legion completely links up with Leon's forces. Watching from afar, Marbus just shakes his head at the whole zombie apocalypse scene. He mutters that this kid is just as hopelessly chaotic as his ancestor Wellen. Right on cue, that weird family amulet decides it is finally time to activate. Pure chaos ensues. A massive beast roars, blitzing the enemy lines, while an even bigger monstrosity absolutely demolishes one of Sylvester's poor foot soldiers. We are talking literal half into destruction with one swipe. Meanwhile, a bunch of creepy guys in dark robes start charging up some kind of massive group spell. Boom, the magic blast connects, launching 2 unlucky knights completely across the sky. Completely freaking out, Sylvester realizes the horrifying truth. They walked right into a massive trap. Now totally surrounded, he is desperately fighting off this endless swarm of angry zombies. But right in the middle of the carnage, he spots something wrong with Leon. The kid is pouring sweat. The magical recoil is hitting him hard. He suddenly grips his chest tightly, looking like he is about to absolutely collapse from the agony. Yep, he coughs up blood. Using that tear of magic, huge mistake. Seeing his chance, Sylvester yells at him to cancel the spell in exchange for everyone's survival. But Leon shuts that garbage down instantly. Flashback time. We see the rest of that conversation where Marbus practically begs him to rethink this crazy suicide mission. The old mentor begs him to be patient, warning that he simply isn't strong enough yet to play hero. Leon just lets that heavy silence hang in the air for a second. Then he slowly turns, looking his master dead straight in the eye. Marbus side-eyes him, bracing for whatever stubborn argument this kid is about to drop. And Leon drops the coldest line, "Who says you gotta wait for fruit to ripen?" Back to reality. The dust settles, leaving absolutely nothing but a sea of bodies. Sylvester just snaps. He drops to his knees, screaming at the total annihilation of his army. And Leon, cold as ice. He strolls through the carnage casually, stepping over the dead before stopping right in front of the broken lord. Dead silence. Just the two of them, locking eyes, one begging from the dirt, one towering above. Right on cue, the heavens open up. A massive downpour washes over the battlefield. Leon doesn't even blink, just staring down at the pathetic man. Desperate Sylvester chokes out a question. "Isn't revenge what you want?" Leon's face doesn't shift a millimeter. Not his goal. Not even close. Grasping at any hope, Sylvester reaches out a trembling hand. He actually grovels, begging for his pathetic life, swearing he'll stay away from House Marbus forever, promising to take their secrets to his grave. The rain pours. Leon just watches him completely unbothered, then drops the coldest line, "Were we ever close enough to ask for favors?" Panic mode activated. Sylvester screams that revenge just creates endless cycles of hatred. Leon's gaze, still absolutely hollow, while Sylvester looks up practically sweating pure terror. Playing the victim, he cries that his hands were tied. Leon grabs him by the collar, throwing his own words about duty right back at him. "Yeah, leadership is heavy," Leon agrees. Sylvester's eyes light up. Oh, he actually thinks the "my position made me do it" excuse is working. But then Leon whispers, "Why does that mean you get to live?" The absolute shock on Sylvester's face. He didn't see that coming. Nothing personal, just business. Leon's making a completely ruthless tactical decision here. His eyes flash. Game over. He whispers a final goodbye. Gnashing his teeth in pure agony, the guy completely loses his mind. Realizing he's doomed, he screams out a classic villain curse, warning Leon he's making a massive, fatal mistake. Leon doesn't even let him finish. Conversation officially over. The deed is done. Leon just stares blankly ahead into the rain as the Lord's lifeless body finally slumps face first into the mud. With the fight won, the undead summons start fading away. But then bam, the magical backlash hits Leon like an absolute freight train. He knew this would happen. Using that much power, not cheap. His legs turn to jelly and he completely collapses as his energy drains out. Panic stations, the silver-haired kid rushes in to help, but Marbus waves him off. "Relax, the kid is just completely out of mana right now." Looking at the boy, Marbus can't help but realize this kid's potential god tier. Honestly, is it even safe for a teenager to walk around packing this much firepower? There's an absolute monster sleeping inside Leon. Even Marbus can't control it. Talk about making a literally devilish deal to get this kind of insane strength. Snapping back to reality, his eyes drift over the carnage and discarded weapons. Wait a second. He spots a very specific mark on a corpse's chest. Oh no, the demons are officially sticking their noses into human business now. Time skip. Back at the estate, everyone's nervously watching a deeply unconscious Leon. Finally, our guy blinks awake, and the room instantly erupts. Paulin practically throws a party right there, absolutely thrilled his master is back among the living. The loyal servant immediately starts groveling for his failures. Marbus just rolls his eyes. "Wow, zero emotional intelligence," the creature mutters, calling out the classic demonic lack of empathy. Leon sits up, waving off the apologies. "You did great, man." The silver-haired kid quickly drops the good news. House Sylvester is basically in ruins now. Paulin is so hyped. Under Leon's leadership, House Marbus is totally making a comeback. But suddenly the mood shifts. Paulin starts sweating. There's one tiny little issue left. Leon, perfectly chill, asks what's up. Looking like he'd rather be anywhere else, Paulin braces for impact. The bombshell drops. They are completely ridiculously broke. Oh, and wait, it gets better. House Marbus is actually drowning in a mountain of massive debt. No big deal, right? Just squeeze the Sylvesters for cash. Nope. Paulin awkwardly explains the imperial family literally banned them from collecting a single dime. Wait, what? Marbus is confused. Why the heck would the empire do that? Classic politics. The Empire loves keeping the three major demonic bloodlines completely powerless. Forced poverty to keep them weak. Makes sense. Sighing at the massive headache, Leon finally asks the million-dollar question. How much do we owe? Polland slowly raises 5 fingers. Sweating bullets now, Leon forces a smile. Haha, 50 million gold. That's not too bad, right? Dead silence. Polland looks like he's attending a funeral. Leon's smile twitches. Wait, don't tell me. 500 million. Polland just squeezes his eyes shut, looking absolutely destroyed on the inside. Pure panic sets in. Dude, there's absolutely no way we owe 5 billion gold. Bowing his head, Polland whispers a heartbreaking apology. Yep, he confirms it. 5 billion gold. The absolute despair. Our boy survived an entire war only to get completely destroyed by capitalism. Cut to a new scene. A dark-haired guy shows up looking absolutely dead serious. Sitting tall on his horse, he declares he's finally reached the House Marbos territory. But then a woman strolls up. Long time no see, Master Richel, she smirks. Enter Carlin. She's the absolute boss of a massive, terrifying loan shark syndicate. He quickly points out his academy already paid off their debt. But she just laughs. Oh, she's definitely not here for his money today. Spotting her muscle, he groans about dealing with his past baggage. She just winks. And that's exactly why you always read the fine print, darling. Losing patience, he snaps that playtime is over. Smirking, she hints they're probably both hunting down the exact same target. Meanwhile, inside, complete chaos. Poulin drops a bombshell. The house owes 5 billion gold. 5 billion. Leon and Poulin just stand there, jaws literally on the floor. Then knock knock. Someone is at the bedroom door. Their heads snap toward the sound like owls. Whispering that he'll handle it, Poulin slowly creeps over to check out the situation. Right then, a massive shiver runs down Leon's spine. Major bad vibes incoming. The silver-haired kid notices his panic and asks what's up. Panicking, Poulin rushes back. We've got unexpected guests, he stammers out. Sweating bullets, Leon asks just how many people crashed their party. Barely holding it together, Poulin stutters that it's just 2, a guy and a lady. Hearing that, Leon's face absolutely drains of all its color. Cut to the drawing room. Richel sips his tea, politely introducing himself. Then he points to Carlin, the terrifying boss of the lunatic syndicate. Across the table, Leon and his crew are sweating buckets. Playing the cool patriarch, he forces a smile and welcomes them to House Marbos. These two. Just smiling like predators, eyeing their absolute favorite snack. The silver-haired kid whispers if they should run, but his creature companion insists their lord is way tougher than he looks. Carlin gets right to business. She heard about their massive war victory and naturally expects those sweet war spoils to pay off their little debt. Leaning in, Poulin quietly asks how much they actually owe the lunatics. Brace yourselves. 4 billion of that massive debt belongs to her alone. Staring at Carlin, the terrifying reality of this underground boss finally sinks in. Oh, and fun fact, she literally sells broke debtors to dark mages. Catching his terrified look, she grins and skips the pleasantries completely. Gulping hard, Leon desperately asks to confirm their exact current balance. Dropping the smile, she lays out the brutal rules. First up, an immediate down payment of exactly 10%, right here, right now. And oh boy, don't forget that absolute nightmare of an annual interest rate. Still, she sweetly adds that she totally expects a prompt payment. Doing the math in his head, the interest alone adds over 1 billion gold. Mind blown, he yells out, asking what kind of idiot signs this garbage. Poulin just awkwardly coughs. Your late father, actually. Soul crushed. Leon just thinks about his dad, utterly, completely betrayed by reality. Richel jumps in, suggesting the kid deserves a quick victory break. Carlin instantly shuts him down, practically laughing at his empty wallet. Glaring daggers, she warns him. Interrupt her business again, bad things happen. Sweating a little, Richel mutters if she'll literally kill him for talking. Throwing his hands up, he backs off instantly. Message received loud and clear. Taking the hint, he leaves to let them chat. Now it's just Leon and the scariest woman alive. The tension is incredibly thick. He opens his mouth to negotiate, but she instantly shoots him down cold. Smirking, she says his dead dad tried every excuse in the book. The creature whispers to just fight her, but Leon mentally screams, "Are you crazy?" He knows his limits. This woman would absolutely mop the floor with him. Stuck, Leon just sits there, completely drowning in his own despair. Crow just sighs. At this brutal pace, they are going totally bankrupt. Playing defense, Poulin insists their old lord meant well. Even the vassals chime in. Sati completely trusts Leon to pull a genius move right now. Leon turns away, head bowed, brain working in absolute overdrive. He slowly turns to Carlin, taking a deep breath. Looking her dead in the eyes, he literally drops down and begs for pure mercy. Wait, what? His crew and even the ruthless Carlin are absolutely stunned. The silver-haired kid just yells his name in sheer disbelief. Meanwhile, back out in the hallway, Richel is taking a casual stroll. A massive grin spreads across his face. Thinking about our young lord, yeah, coming all this way was 100% worth the hassle. Flashback time, we see him chatting with Leon earlier in that exact hallway. Out of nowhere, Leon unleashes this intense dark aura glaring at everyone. Richel was absolutely blown away by his mana, already plotting how to snatch him up. Oh man, this kid would be a total game changer for his academy. Pacing the halls, he racks his brain trying to figure out the perfect bribe. Back to the memory, he reaches out instantly, firing up a high-level spell. Boom, a massive sphere of pure magic wraps right around him. Total focus. He held that pulsing sphere of power perfectly steady right in front of him. Inside, the director is absolutely begging him to never pull a disappearing act like that again, but our guy just completely ignores him. I'll explain later. Classic misdirection, he totally pivots. With a cheeky grin, he asks the real question, exactly how much gold is sitting in that hermit's vault right now. The director absolutely done. Just face palms in pure, unadulterated despair. Back to reality, Carlin acts totally confused about why our young lord is sweating bullets. Then, one flick of her finger and a tiny glowing coin of pure energy pops up. She casually tosses it. Boom. The coin violently detonates, completely shattering his teacup. Dead serious now, she warns him they're way more ruthless than he thinks. Instant reaction, his guard draws his blade, screaming about how she dares threaten his master. Carlin just scoffs. Her anger strictly reserved for cheapskates who dodge their debts. She shoots a lethal glare at the whole squad. Are we clear? And Leon's response, he straight up admits they are completely totally broke. Zero cash. Wait, what? She literally asks him to repeat that. So he spells it out, the family vaults, absolutely empty. Just dust and cobwebs. Brain loading. Carlin just freezes in silence, staring down this absolute joke of a patriarch. Rising to her feet, it suddenly clicks. No wonder he was shaking like a leaf. Time for a live demonstration of what happens to deadbeats. Panic mode activated. Leon just stares in pure terror, unsure how to survive this. Plot twist, Richel literally kicks the door open, screaming at her to back off. He throws himself right in the line of fire, physically blocking her attack. Jaw clenched, feet planted. He stands completely ready for an all-out brawl. Absolutely pissed, she growls that his desperate little stunt makes sense now. She locks eyes with Leon, flashing this ridiculously sinister, threatening smirk. Richel isn't having it. He shouts that this whole mess is just pathetic. Jumping in, he tells her to back off and stop ruining the school's top draft pick. Leon still completely lost. Our boy just watches this insane drama play out. Off to the side, the silver-haired kid's jaw is practically on the floor. Total confusion. But wait, fanboy moment. He suddenly thinks Master Leon orchestrated this entire thing. Meanwhile, Leon casually asks about this mysterious hermit school they keep dropping. Carlin shoots daggers at Richel, ridiculously annoyed that he crashed her party. But he stands his ground, desperately trying to talk her off the ledge. The killing intent drops. Just a bit. She actually pauses, mulling over this deal. Leon watches this weird dynamic, his brain working overtime to find a way out. Stepping up, he tells everyone to chill, he needs to handle this personally. So he drops a bomb. If this hermit school clears his debt, he'll actually join them. He locks eyes with Richel. Is that the actual deal here? Richel just smirks. Yep, that is exactly the deal they are offering. Then Richel brings up that recent turf war against House Sylvester. He points right at Leon, calling him out for obviously using necromancy. Leon tries to play dumb, but Richel laughs, winning that battle normally, absolutely impossible. Taking a casual sip of tea, he reveals Carlin had the exact same theory. She just rolls her eyes, muttering about how tricky mages always are. Not even hiding it, she admits she honestly thought his legendary powers had returned. So Leon connects the dots. Did she only show up expecting him to quickly pay up? No lies told there. She admits she honestly considered that possibility, though she didn't expect the full payout right away. Overhearing this, Marbus realizes, holy crap, the compound interest on that mountain of debt must be absolutely terrifying by now. Let's recap. Leon breaks it down. Richel is desperate to recruit him while Carlin just wants her damn money. But here is the catch. He wants to know exactly how they were so insanely sure. Carlin points out the obvious hiring backup or mercenaries costs serious cash. Leon just bursts out laughing. He never bought into that money wins wars nonsense anyway. Breaking down his logic, Richel admits his very first clue was Marbus's totally unique power. He figured the family's legendary necromancy had finally awakened again. Carlin grins, honestly running into the continent's biggest genius sounded like a solid bonus trip to her. Sweating again, he asks the million-dollar question. Does he seriously still owe all this money? Carlin just gives him the nastiest side-eye, her face deadpan and completely terrifying. Oh hell yes he does. Did he think she played loan shark just for fun? Whipping out a literal gun, she makes it crystal clear payback time is non-negotiable. Aiming right at his head, she teases that she might just reveal her actual motive. Timeout. Richel cuts in again, politely requesting 5 minutes alone with his new star recruit. She actually agrees but drops one last threat that debt is her absolute priority. Then she finally turns and swaggers toward the exit. Rachel exhales hard talk about dodging a bullet, but Leon isn't lowering his guard. He straight up tells Rachel he doesn't trust him any farther than he can throw him. Going for the throat, Leon asks the crazy question, "Are you even human?" Rachel just smirks this incredibly dark, unsettling smile. He dodges the question and throws it right back. "I could ask you the exact same thing, young Leon." He points straight at Marbus. "You're siding with a demon, but Marbus," he just smirks, claiming he's simply a mage who can see through disguises. And just like that, boom, he unleashes his raw aura, completely dropping the act. In his true form, he demands to know how Rachel possesses such insane power. Rachel doesn't even blink. He casually reveals his own true form too, complete with a pair of wicked horns and a swishing tail. Fully transformed, he glares at the demon standing right in front of him. Marbus's eyes go wide. Holy crap, he recognizes him as an actual surviving dragon. Leon asks if he's really a dragon, and Marbus nods. The horns and tail are dead giveaways. But Rachel fires back, saying he's super curious about why a demon is tagging along with a human. He admits he isn't exactly sure why, but he's pretty certain it's somehow tied deeply to the first chief. Trying to cool things down, Leon insists Marbus is fighting for humanity. Marbus backs him up. Yeah, he's a demon, but he absolutely doesn't share their twisted goals. Rachel scoffs at that. If that's true, a demon has zero business sticking his nose into human affairs. Time to change the subject. Leon looks Rachel dead in the eye and asks the real question. What exactly does he have to do if he joins this school? Rachel sighs. He explains that their faction is at its absolute core completely reclusive. They love staying hidden. The master plan, Leon will take on commissions to slowly build his reputation. But Marbus isn't buying the PR speech and demands the real truth. Rachel actually looks surprised. Gotta hand it to them, they caught on to the shady situation way faster than he expected. Staring right at Leon, he lays down the absolute rule: do not join any rival schools. His eyes literally glow as he spells out their true terms. Marbus connects the dots. You're just trying to stop the other factions from gaining power, aren't you? Rachel chuckles. Yeah, that's part of it, but definitely not the main goal. He slams a mysterious red object onto the table, ready to spill the tea. Here's the massive plot twist. One of the other two schools is literally worshipping demons. Marbus immediately realizes the bad guys are finally making their move. Super annoyed, Marbus kicks himself for not waking up earlier. He aggressively demands to know exactly what these cultists are trying to achieve. Silence fills the room. Rachel looks at them grimly before dropping the ultimate bombshell. Their master plan, resurrecting the Demon King Baal himself. Cue the epic flashback. We're thrown straight into the brutal, blood-soaked history of the massive anti-demon war. Right in the middle of absolute chaos, the legendary human king Solomon is pushed to the brink. Gripping his weapon tight, he gears up for one final desperate strike. He channels every single drop of his power, unleashing an absolutely devastating wave of energy. Meanwhile, we see a massive demon chained up and completely mind-controlled. Then, a terrifying army of skeletal demons. Eyes glowing blood red, these monsters charge right into the slaughter without a single second of hesitation. Off to the side, one of the high-ranking demons casually summons an ancient, incredibly overpowered magical grimoire. Hoisting the book high, he uses it to pull nightmarish creatures straight onto the battlefield. He flips it open, getting ready to unleash absolute hell. Suddenly, waves of demons are just wiped out, dropping lifeless to the ground. Snapping back to reality, Rachel explains that Solomon literally sacrificed himself to seal Baal. But here's the terrifying part. Centuries have passed, and the incredible power of that legendary seal, it's slowly breaking apart. It's gotten so weak that a demon waking up is basically guaranteed now. Leon chimes in, mentioning rumors that the human emperor has completely lost his mind. The emperor used to be a total genius, so Leon asks if this is all connected. Rachel nods. Demons are sneaky. They always exploit the tiniest mental cracks. And honestly, since Leon literally has a demon hanging around him all day, he should know exactly how they operate. Leon nods, remembering how countless races were completely wiped out during that ancient war. He then asks if all this paranoia is because they found the demon's crest. Bullseye. Rachel confirms the grim discovery, and immediately pressures Leon to join the errata school to help them out. But Marbus points out a massive flaw: joining costs an absolute fortune, and Rachel stubbornly refuses to sponsor him. Sweating over his massive debt, Leon desperately asks for a way to grind gold. Rachel pauses for a second. You can practically see the giant light bulb go off in his head. Bingo, he suddenly announces he knows the perfect money-making scheme. He brings up the local adventurers guild, specifically targeting the person closest to the guild master. If Leon starts grabbing commissions through them, he can fast-track his way to those crazy high-paying top-tier quests. 10 million gold at once. Leon's jaw basically hits the floor. Desperate for the cash, he dramatically bows and begs Rachel to put in a good word, making Marbus groan. Suddenly, a little creature pops out to fiercely defend Leon, snapping at Marbus for disrespecting its master. Then it totally snitches, revealing the old butler was the one bad-mouthing him earlier. Busted Marbus immediately looks incredibly awkward and awkwardly avoids eye contact with everyone. Rachel just laughs and suddenly calls out for Carlin, totally aware she's been eavesdropping this whole time. He tells her to get out here and help them out. The door swings open. She walks in groaning that Rachel is way too sharp. Slumping at the table, she glares skeptically at Marbus hovering right in front of her face. Being the perfect host, Rachel politely asks Marbus to go ahead and introduce himself to their new guest. Dead serious Marbus puffs out his chest and announces he is the demon serving Leon. Carlin just sighs, muttering that absolutely nothing good ever comes from getting tangled up with this guy. Rachel just sits back with a smug little smile, enjoying the absolute chaos. Cut to a bit later, the whole squad is trekking through the woods, heading straight for the guild. Walking along, Rachel complains that acting as their guide is literally the absolute least he can do for a guy who owes 4 billion gold. Leon, still a bit clueless, asks what exactly goes down at this adventurers guild. Carlin keeps it simple. It's basically just a hub to grab crazy jobs, finish them, and get paid. Rachel points out you can actually team up and split the cash. Get good and you're making millions instantly. But Marbus, he just mutters that it's a total death trap for greedy fools. Rachel just laughs it off. Hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Score big and boom, you could become a legit knight or mage. Now Leon is hooked. He immediately demands the full breakdown on these power ranks. Rachel tosses the explanation duty to Carlin, who is absolutely not thrilled about it. Sighing, she breaks down the 5 basic mercenary tiers. The math is simple here. The stronger you get, the higher tier the paying jobs become. Connecting the dots, our boy asks the obvious. So, black rank is the ultimate goal, right? Sure, Rachel nods, but it's so crazy impossible she skipped it entirely. Like there are literally less than 10 black ranks alive right now. Finally, hitting the city streets, our squad marches toward their target. The entrance, absolutely massive, screaming, classic medieval fantasy architecture from top to bottom. Stopping right in the main square, they just take in the absolute chaos of city life. Carlin instantly drops a reality check. Imperial law hates letting underage kids play adventurer. Rachel tells her to stop ruining the vibe. They casually stroll up to a wooden sign pointing straight to the local tavern. Pushing the doors open, Leon wants to skip straight to the test, but looking around, his jaw drops. What is this place exactly? Walking into absolute chaos, he asks, wait, this is the Adventurers Guild. With Marbus chilling on his shoulder, he scans the insanely crowded room. Off in the corner, a white-haired woman spots our squad walking in. She smirks, muttering that some seriously loud rookies just showed up. Leaning back in her chair, she casually keeps her eyes glued to the newcomers. Gripping her drink, she shoots them a look that absolutely screams danger. The whole place is packed with loud, laughing mercenaries. Over in the corner, a couple of guys are just throwing back drinks and joking around. Meanwhile, Carlin quietly scans the room. Suddenly, dead silence hits those two guys. They stare at the door, completely shocked. Wait, is that the legendary Carlin standing right there? They spot Leon comparing his vibe to a completely feral street cat. Then they notice Rachel. What is she even doing at the guild today? One guy actually mutters that the kid looks tiny but has major boss energy. Chugging his ale, another dude just whines about how completely unfair life is. The girls totally ignore the peanut gallery and keep walking. Smiling, Rachel jokes that she must have really ruffled some feathers here. Carlin just rolls her eyes, shut up and walk faster. Scanning the chaotic room, Leon asks where their mysterious contact is hiding. Leon arrogantly notes, nobody here looks tough. But Marbus cuts him off immediately. He feels a crazy heavy mana presence locking right onto them. Right on cue, an eye-patch dude whips his head around, completely spooked. Our squad instantly freezes, their eyes darting sideways. A blonde guy with a massive backpack is just glaring a hole right through them. Off to the side, Leon finally catches on to the heavy vibe in the room. The tension spikes hard, making the entire tavern turn and stare. Leon smirks, oh yeah, they just found their target. Zero hesitation, the white-haired lady lunges straight at them. Weapons flash instantly as the girls square up, fully ready to throw down. Clash Carlin points her blade, blocking the incoming strike perfectly. The whole bar just watches, totally stunned by the sudden brawl breaking out. Blade steady, Carlin smirks, wow, somebody got way more aggressive since their last meeting. One shout and the white-haired lady calls her back up. Then she snaps at Carlin. She specifically told her to never use that name. Glancing sideways, she practically barks at Carlin, aggressively waiting for some kind of explanation. Stepping right up, Leon casually asks if she is the top dog here. Furious, she demands to know who this kid is, interrupting them. Marbus quickly chimes in, this kid is an absolute monster. Striking a pose, our boy declares himself as Leon von Marbus, the noble heir. Or at least, that is the fancy title everyone else uses. Meanwhile, a silver-haired kid is watching this entire hallway drama unfold. Cut to 5 seconds later, they are literally sitting in a VIP room peacefully. Casually sipping tea, the crazy lady mentions hearing about the new family head. Carlin and Rachel trade looks, sizing up the tension in the room. She scoffs, totally shocked the boss is just a tiny kid. But Carlin claps back, his magic is absolutely insane and she stakes her life on it. Rachel jumps in, why on earth is a rich noble slumming it at a rundown guild? Plus, she adds teaming up with a literal demon is super weird. Instantly triggered, Marbus yells at her to apologize to his master right now. Smiling at the chaos, Leon jokes that the grumpy black cat is finally acting loyal. Staring dead at the lady, Leon drops the bomb, he wants to join the guild. Carlin grins. Yep, that is exactly what they do here. Rachel flat out agrees, but drops a massive warning. Sure, I'll give you a shot, but you might literally die. High stakes right from the start. Leon's response, ice cold. He says his people already walk the line of death. Plus, dodging a debt is way worse than dying, honestly. She nods. Time to see if this kid actually has what it takes. Grabbing some mysterious liquid, she starts drawing these crazy patterns right on the ground. A massive magic grid starts forming. Whoosh, the glowing design instantly shoots across the entire floor. And our boy Leon, actually pretty impressed by this light show. He instantly recognizes the complex spell high-tier teleportation. She smirks, noting he's clearly not your average run-of-the-mill mage. Flash, they're warped into a completely new space, surrounded by massive armored knights looking totally ready to throw down. She steps up and explains the challenge. Simple enough, right? She points at the stone army. Only one holds mana. Find it. Oh, and he's only got 30 minutes on the clock. Dead serious, Leon just nods. I'll do what I can. Rachel calls it out, game on. She tells Carlin to start the timer. Carlin groans loudly. Fine, but just this once. This is so annoying. Classic attitude. With a flick of her wrist, a massive magic hourglass appears. Tick-tock. Leon steps right into the middle of these absolute giants. He scans the massive figures, searching for any clue. Meanwhile, Rachel's watching him, like she conveniently forgot to mention one tiny detail. Oh, right, she adds. The real one will try to kill you. And boom, every single statue suddenly jerks to life. Incoming, a stone fist slams down. Leon barely backflips away before the strike completely obliterates the floor where he just stood. He spins around, totally locked in. More heavy attacks are definitely coming. Fists up, ready for war against a literal stone army. Way up high, Carlin just watches with the most bored expression ever. Even she admits this test is absolutely brutal. Down below, Leon looks completely boxed in. How do you even survive this setup? Carlin scoffs. Young prodigies crack easily. In her mind, the kid's survival odds are sitting right at a big fat 0. Marbus whispers that the individual attacks are weak, but picking out the right target, completely impossible. He points out the biggest issue. The mana level here is basically non-existent. He snarks that even a brain-dead lion could figure out this trap. Hearing that, Marbus shoots him the most intense, annoyed side-eye ever. The stone giants are closing the gap fast. Marbus desperately tries to get his master's attention. Sweating bullets, Leon locks his eyes onto something off to the side. Above them, Rachel mutters how risky it was backing this kid. The white-haired mage watches the chaos. Talent is great, but man, it shatters easily. But wait, Leon launches himself right at the enemy. From a bird's-eye view, he is rushing headfirst into the absolute worst spot. His eyes flash with raw power. He's totally locked in while the giant stone knight just stares back with creepy glowing red eyes. Hands out, he drops the act. Deep, sinister, dark energy explodes from him. Swoosh, he beautifully sidesteps a massive swing. Then he literally hacks into the statues, hijacking their bodies with his dark magic. Oh, it is, on 3 giant knights flip sides and attack their own team. Work smart, not hard, he basically says. Up in the stands, everyone's jaws drop at this absolute genius play. Marbus is totally stunned. He can barely comprehend what his crazy master is pulling off. Leon shrugs. Hey, it is one of the only tricks he actually knows. Dark energy begins forming into deadly floating spears. This should do the trick. Pitch-black spears materialize all around him, practically vibrating with power. Marbus gasps. He knows exactly what this terrifying spell is. Wait, he knows the legendary Black Spear. Before anyone can process it, the dark projectiles rain down like literal meteors, carpet-bombing the statues. Boom. Absolute carnage. Massive explosions chain together, turning the stone knights into pure rubble. Dust clears. Leon stands totally chill inside a literal disaster zone. Marbus is losing it. My master is a total psychopath. Meanwhile, examining the debris, the examiner admits his mana control is actually flawless. But wait, the goal was finding the right statue, right? Looking at the pulverized rocks, she sighs. Classic rookie mistake. He just failed. Rachel narrows her eyes. There's literally only one way he can bounce back from this mess. If he actually pulls this off, they have to recruit him right now. No debate. Carlin is practically on the edge of her seat. Eyes closed. Deep breath. He reaches out to the restless spirits. Tapping into his Marbus bloodline, he calls the dead to his side. His eyes snap open, glowing with unholy energy. The real trap card is activated. Awaken, he commands. The shattered rocks actually start vibrating. Every single piece of destroyed stone suddenly defies gravity, floating right up into the air. The pieces snap together like a crazy puzzle, building something entirely new. Both women are completely frozen, witnessing this absolutely broken display of power. Big reveal time. Lion totally planned this crazy test from day one. His logic, since mana equals life force necromancy, works on it perfectly. Jaws drop everywhere. They just realized they hooked a genuine absolute monster here. Even Carlin admits, okay, that was pretty cool. Her opinion is totally flipping. And the white-haired master calls his on-the-fly thinking pure genius. Completely caught off guard by this wild outcome, she is low-key so impressed. Stepping closer, she straight up asks how the heck he pulled that off. His casual answer, oh, I just killed it and brought it back. Still confused, she asks how he even figured that out. Simple, he drops the mic. Golems aren't just magical tools, they are living creatures. Tapping the giant rock, he proves it holds the mana. Then he points right at his newly undead pet to show off his handiwork. Glancing at the hourglass, plenty of sand left, he smirks. So did I pass or what? She actually calls him absolutely incredible. His response, just smoothly accepting the compliment like a total boss. Boom, he passed. She promises him a shiny silver guild emblem right there. Rachel just shakes her head. This whole trip is one wild ride. Meanwhile, our blonde hype man nudges Marbas. See that? Our boss is completely amazing. Bursting with pride, Marbas literally jumps on his head while the poor guy cries about feeling useless. Standing by the golem, Lion quietly watches everything. Flashback time. We see a literal ghost floating around. Then our silver-haired lore drop guy steps in to explain how golems actually work. Basically, he says they are just walking, talking magical science projects. But get this, some core monsters actually spawn naturally in the wild. Smiling proudly, he points out how Lion sniffed out the exact difference perfectly. He is totally cheering right now, flexing his young master's massive brain power. The guildmaster admits this was definitely a first for her. Throwing in the towel, she calls him strong, and Lion just politely drops a thanks. Straight to business, he asks the real question. How much cash does silver get me? Rachel shrugs, it varies, but maybe around 3 million easily. Buzzkill Carlin chimes in though, want to clear that insane debt, you need gold, buddy. Reality check hits Lion hard, and yeah, he gets the struggle. Rachel adds some cool context here. Handing out a silver rank right away, the guildmaster hasn't done that in forever. Eyes closed, looking totally mysterious, she drops the schedule. First official mission, starts tomorrow. Playing the good junior, Lion bows deeply to thank her. Then snap, with just her fingers, she cancels the whole spatial teleportation magic instantly. The air literally freezes, wiping away all the test summons like absolutely nothing happened. Boom. Back in the original office, everyone just blinks at the shift. Those scary knight statues, back to being totally harmless, boring decorations. Lion is honestly shook. A single hand gesture reset the entire room. He realizes her mana control is honestly on another freakish level. Rachel taps Lion's shoulder, time for us to bounce right. Now completely alone, the boss lady sinks into her chair, rewinding the crazy exam. Looking deep in thought, she puts the puzzle pieces together. She remembers Lion standing there, totally boxed in by lances, looking ready to strike. She was dead certain he would just lose right there. But nope, he pulled a wild card. Seriously, spotting the real golem shouldn't have been hard for a guy like him. So why wait? Why drag it out until the very end? Then it hits her. The whole struggle, a complete act to hide his true strength. Standing up abruptly, she makes a massive choice. The Marbas family just hatched a total monster, sure, but that is not even what gives her the creeps right now. Cut to the outside, a giant full moon slicing through thick dark clouds. Cinematic transition. The real problem, his eyes. Dead cold, completely empty of normal human emotion. Staring at that moon, she wonders what the heck is inside his head. Fast forward to the next day, everyone is chilling around the massive meeting table. Tossing him a sealed scroll, she officially drops his first quest. Lion catches the paper tube and unrolls it to see what is up. Scanning the text, the target location is Salichi City. But wait, he blinks twice. Are we seriously investigating the actual Pope for straight-up corruption? The master nods, deadpan. Yep, breaking down exactly how messy things are up in the capital. Rumors about the holy leader being a massive crook are literally everywhere now. Carlin immediately protests isn't fighting the church, basically suicide for a rookie. The boss slowly turns and just shoots Carlin an absolute death glare for interrupting. Privilege, she calls it. Says a guy like him can totally crush it. Rachel sighs, if he wants that promotion fast, there is zero room to argue. Lion just shrugs. Bring it on. But she drops a heavy warning, quit halfway and your guild rank resets all the way to 0. Ouch. Staring down Carlin and Rachel, the boss officially drafts them into Lion's new party. Carlin is super salty, demanding to know if her veto even matters. Ignoring her completely, Lion bows respectfully, claiming his dad taught him perfect manners. Sitting there smoothly, he starts chatting up Carlin, spinning his logic perfectly. Our blonde sidekick whispers, "Dude, the boss is insanely good at manipulating people." Tilting his head, the silver-haired kid looks totally confused. Isn't he human? Marbus absolutely hates that comment, glaring at him with pure murder in his eyes, but he confidently guarantees success. Why? Because they're completely broke. Scene shift. We get this ridiculously huge, luxurious church, right up at the main altar, a golden bowl reflecting two identical nuns kneeling in prayer. Meanwhile, an older guy stands there, with his back turned quietly, watching these two sisters pray. Looking totally devastated, he turns around and whispers an apology. Suddenly, the water in that golden bowl ripples, showing a creepy vision of two silhouettes. The prophecy drops. The miraculous saint will be one of these girls. One gets to shine like the sun, while the other absolute total destruction. And the absolute kicker, the vision claims these two must eventually become one. The reflection shifts. The twins stare at each other, eyes glowing with magic. The brutal truth. One literally has to die to complete the fusion. Back at the altar, the sisters just keep praying in dead silence. By the way, this world's religions are split into two massive opposing factions. First up, the Holy Church worshipping Ardan, the literal goddess of world creation. The other side, total opposite, they worship Baal and 72 demons. Basically your classic super edgy cult of demonic restoration. Naturally, most regular humans side with Ardan's church, and the lucky ones chosen to use holy magic, they are simply called followers. But at the absolute top of the food chain is the Saint of Miracles. Cut to a dusty carriage bouncing down a dirt road. Inside, some guy in a hat is nervously staring out the window. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang just casually chats away while traveling. Yep, Leon and his entire crew are gathered for their next crazy mission. They hit a tavern where a sketchy guy asks about heading to Salishi. The squad circles up around the table to negotiate. The guy drops the bad news that City is an absolute wreck thanks to the recent war. Michelle raises an eyebrow, asking if there is any special reason to visit there. Carlin totally gets the hint. She just snaps her fingers at her crew, and instantly a henchman hands over a heavy bag of cash. Bam! She slams those gold coins right on the table. Suddenly, the guy says they don't need to ask questions, completely changing his whole tune. Zero hesitation now, he agrees to go, assuming they keep him alive. Internally though, he's sweating, wondering what kind of insane mess he just joined. We finally see the city of Saley, completely leveled, pure post-war ruins. Our guy explains a new cardinal was supposed to fix this, but things went totally sideways. The crazy part, it all ties back to missing divine power. That holy magic is drying up because no new saint has awakened yet. Without her, the whole continent is about to lose its divine protection completely. Looking absolutely stressed out, he keeps dumping all this heavy lore on our crew. Back in their ride, Leon drops the bomb. The mission, exposing the Pope's corruption. The silver-haired kid gets nervous, sensing major danger flags everywhere. But Leon cool as a cucumber, telling him to chill out and ignore the hurdles. Rachel agrees, but warns that the human nations are way stronger now. Marbus chimes in, getting sloppy with prep work will get them seriously hurt. Talking about the Pope, she notes, nobody is truly free under Arden's rule. The biggest issue, that much-needed saint with holy magic, is still completely missing. Then Rachel drops wild lore. The miracle saint comes strictly from the Pope's bloodline. But Leon jumps in. There is actually a much more insane problem hiding here. 2 daughters were born this generation instead of 1. Eyes flashing with excitement, Leon points out the catch. Only a single twin can inherit that ultimate power. Totally lost, the kid asks the obvious question. Can't they just share the holy magic? Nope, Marbus explains, bloodline powers are strictly a one-person deal. Leon just sits there silently, letting the dark reality sink in. One of those girls has to die. Rachel scratches her head. Honestly, the more she thinks about this setup, the weirder it gets. Staring right at Leon, he silently judges our young boss's crazy mindset. Boom, another scene change. The carriage wheels screech to a dead halt. The driver turns around, yelling that they have finally arrived at their long-awaited destination. They pull up right in front of a massive, imposing castle. Inside, this sharply dressed guy is power-walking alone down a ridiculously lavish hallway. Looking deadly serious, he marches forward without skipping a beat. Finally, he halts at these giant double doors, taking a breath before heading inside. He bows and tells His Holiness the news. The mercenary crew has officially arrived. From the shadows, a voice double-checks their identity. The Pope leans forward, desperate to know, can these guys actually bypass the church's crazy security network? The suit confirms it. This operation requires absolute zero leaks secrecy. The plot twist, this whole fake mission is actually an elaborate scheme to save his daughter. Meanwhile, back in town, Leon's squad is cautiously navigating the ruined streets. An old guy approaches, introducing himself as Glazer, the head butler here. Rachel steps up, mentioning the whole Pope corruption bounty they took on. Glazer nods. But honestly, he never expected the actual school boss to show up. Rachel cracks up laughing. She tells him he's got it twisted, she isn't doing the heavy lifting. Leon steps right up, boldly claiming he's running the show. Dead serious, Leon stares the old butler down, waiting for the green light. Glazer just sweats, asking the classic question, isn't this kid way too young? Leon just flashes his emblem. Boom, proof that he is actually built for this job. The butler's eyes go wide. It is a Silver Adventurer Guild badge. Lion just glances over. So are those two girls enemies? Silence. The butler just stares him down, probably trying to figure out his angle. Cut to those two identical nuns praying back at the church. Yep, the sisters in full habit. We are getting into the heavy stuff now. The tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Staring each other down, Lion finally says they should probably take this somewhere private. Fast forward to a private room. The vibe is dead serious. Everyone gathered around the table, time to spill the actual tea. The butler's face, completely grim. Man looks like he has accepted his terrible fate. Lion just waits for the mission details. But the butler, he completely doubts him, claiming there is zero chance a kid mage could ever help. Big mistake. Lion drops the nice guy act. Staring straight through him, he names him Glazer and warns him to keep his emotions in check. Glazer literally flinches. He backs up, totally caught off guard by that sudden alpha energy. Then it hits him. Lion is literally in his head. Telepathy. He is absolutely sweating. How is this kid pulling off high-tier magic? Lion tells him to drop the act completely. He already knows the truth. This mission, straight from the Pope. Smirking like an absolute boss, Lion goes for the kill. Stop stalling. Tell me what the actual mission is right now. Checkmate. Glazer knows he is totally cornered here. He clasps his hands tightly, taking a deep breath. Time to drop the massive lore bomb. Defeated, the butler finally caves. Fine. He will explain it all. The rest of the party just watches this go down. Flashback time. We are back at the church, the Pope watching his twin daughters pray. And the Pope, looking absolutely stressed out of his mind. Total panic mode. Here is the prophecy. Two silhouettes inside a glowing sphere. One of these girls is officially destined to become the absolute legendary saint of miracles. Wrong. While one gets godlike status, the other doomed to absolute brutal destruction. The twisted rule. The two must become one. The sisters just look at each other. Yep, one literally has to die to unlock the power. Two priests are watching from the shadows like creeps, while the girls pray, matching, glowing symbols just light up right on their chests. The Pope is losing it. If this prophecy is real, he is completely screwed. Begging for answers, he asks about his daughter's terrible future. The advisor breaks it down. The saint's power, sliced right down the middle. And here is the absolute kicker. To make the power whole, one twin has to go. The Pope is horrified. Kill one daughter to power up the other. Then bam. The heavy church doors fly open. Uninvited guests. Three very intimidating guys march straight down the aisle toward the Pope. The big boss stops right in front of them. Meet Caliban, commander of the Imperial Knights, and he means absolute business. Straight from the top, he slaps down a royal decree from the Emperor himself. Caliban unrolls the scroll and reads the brutal verdict. Quote, there cannot be two sons under the same sky. Oh, this is bad. When they grow up, one gets the saint title, the other getting sacrificed to finish the power-up. And the method is insanely cruel. Burned at the stake. Literally. The Pope absolutely snaps, screaming at them. Are they seriously ordering a father to burn his own kid alive? Caliban just smiles. That evil, smug smirk. It is an absolute order. Just call it a holy sacrifice. Dropping the mic, he turns around and marches his guys out. The Pope frozen in pure terror. He cannot even process this absolute nightmare. Collapsing at the altar, he questions everything. Why would the heavens just abandon him? Begging the statue, he curses this absolutely impossible trial. He looks up at the goddess, screaming inside. Why destroy his family? He absolutely breaks down, crying, totally crushed by the sheer grief. And the twin girls' eyes squeezed shut. Tears falling. They heard absolutely everything. Snap back to the present. The tavern crew is going over this insane backstory. Lion is completely quiet, just analyzing every single detail. Michelle breaks it all down perfectly. No saint for decades, and now a royal twin situation where the holy magic is literally split in half. Glazer nods. That is exactly what the dark prophecy actually meant. But here is the plot twist. Glazer went completely rogue to save both girls. Lion is stunned. This dude is actively rebelling against the entire empire. Fists clenched tight. The butler is risking it all. But Lion, he needs to hear from the actual girls involved, not just Glazer. Calling a quick timeout, Lion steps away. He really needs to talk to the targets directly. Private room, just him and the two nuns. He walks right up to the twin sisters who are sitting there looking totally defeated. He drops to one knee, looks them dead in the eye. No sugarcoating it, he asks if they are actually okay with this madness. Straight up. Are you really fine with burning to death? Marba immediately yells at him for being blunt, but hey, efficiency is key here. Then one twin finally speaks up. In the absolute worst case, she calmly accepts that one must die. Meanwhile, just outside the door, the rest of the crew is totally eavesdropping. Inside, our guy just stares at the two of them repeating the question and waiting for an actual answer. Their response, crickets. The two of them just freeze up, looking absolutely terrified like a pair of deer in headlights. She finally speaks up. Sure, people threw that title around, but they never actually bought into the hype. Cut to a flashback and it's pure chaos. An entire army of demons swarming the skies over a burning city. Absolute panic everywhere. People are scrambling, running for their lives as the demonic airstrike completely levels the place. Up on a balcony, we've got the Pope having a total meltdown. He's whining that the Saint of Miracles just ghosted him. Looking at the flaming ruins, he complains, what do we do without the light now? A loyal knight instantly jumps in front of him. Sir, we need to move now. Danger levels, absolutely off the charts. But this guy, he's completely lost it. Screaming his lungs out, cursing the demons to hell and back. His eye literally glows with raw fury as he swears he'll make them pay. Standing against a backdrop of raging fire, he stares down the entire army. He accuses them of basically spitting in the face of the divine will. Epic, honestly. Flash forward to a much quieter moment. A father sitting right by his daughter's bed. She gives this gentle smile, whispering how relieved she is that things finally worked out. She's super hopeful, saying her little girl is next in line to be the new saint. But he hits her with a reality check. That kind of holy title, it comes with a massive, crushing weight. He stays close, admitting the harsh truth. That burden, that is exactly what keeps him up at night. He knows the deal. She won't just be worshipped, she'll be used. A literal tool for the masses. The woman softly grabs his hand, trying to ground him before he spirals completely. He squeezes back, holding on for dear life. Seeing his panic, she promises that their child is going to be incredibly tough. She swears she'll be there to raise her right. With the sweetest smile, she asks him to name their baby Sky. Why? Because she wants her to bring a little piece of heaven into this world. Wait, hold up. The guy looks utterly terrified by that suggestion. Pure panic sets in. And here is the plot twist. The girl telling the story reveals she never actually heard her mother say those words. Turns out her mother spent every last drop of her life force just bringing the two sisters into the world. Yep, she didn't make it. The sister practically shrugs off the trauma, saying her life started as a total tragedy, so obviously it's going to end like one too. Classic dark fantasy logic. Hidden behind a mask, she drops the harsh truth. Fate is locked in, nothing is changing for them, and tragedy is the only thing left on the menu. Alright, snapping back to reality, the two sisters are still nervously staring holes into Leon's face. The whole squad is huddled around the table waiting for the final call. Suddenly, one sister steps up. She's made her choice, she's volunteering as the sacrifice. Just like that. But the other sister is immediately like, nope, absolutely not. She argues that since she was born first, she should be the one to bite the dust. Leon, he's just watching this morbid tug-of-war in total silence. The older sister keeps pushing, claiming she is quote-unquote defective and completely disposable. Tears are flowing now. The younger one begs her to stop talking like that. Meanwhile, Leon is internally sweating. They definitely didn't cover sacrificial sibling rivalry in his training. Our main character awkwardly asks if it even matters if they both die. Thankfully, Marbus chimes in with the real priorities: save both of them or kiss that paycheck goodbye. Leon actually cracks a smile. Good old Marbus, always keeping his eyes on the prize. The money is definitely the most important part here. So new plan, find a loophole to save them both. The sisters agree but drop one major rule: do whatever it takes, just leave their innocent dad out of this mess. Time to get the details straight. Leon asks the million-dollar question: when exactly is this crazy sacrifice supposed to happen? Oh, just a totally chill deadline of 2 days. She adds that if they can't cook up a miracle by then, she's throwing herself on the altar. The younger sister absolutely loses it. She screams her name, completely horrified by the thought of losing her. 2 days. Not a lot of time. Leon realizes they need to fix the root of the problem right now. Rachel steps up, suggesting they investigate this holy mark given to the saint. Leon's like, cool, let's see it. But then things get incredibly awkward when he realizes exactly where this magical mark is located. One of the sisters asks the rest of the peanut gallery to step out. Leon stays. Carlin just closes her eyes, muttering that a magical mark is just a mark regardless of where it is. She violently shoves Rachel out the door, making sure he doesn't get a front row seat to the upcoming reveal. Comedy gold right there. With the audience kicked out, the door slams shut for some actual privacy. Only Carlin stays behind, crossing her arms and watching this whole awkward ordeal go down. The sisters share a tense look before finally giving the nod. Turning their backs, they very carefully start pulling their clothes down. Taking a deep breath, they turn back around, finally putting everything on display for the big inspection. And there it is. Right on their chests, a glowing golden cup-shaped mark. Leon takes one look and groans. This thing completely impossible to extract or transfer using standard magic. Marbus narrows his eyes. He's been around the block, and according to him, there is literally only one brutal way to solve this. The comedic vibe vanishes. Leon stares dead ahead, confirming the worst one of these girls actually has to die. Marbus just sighs. Prophecies and fate, absolutely ruthless. It's basically a system designed to ruin lives. But then Marbus stops. He takes a good look at our main guy, realizing Leon is making an expression he has never ever seen before. Leaning over the table, Marbus peers closely. Uh-oh, is the boss actually pissed? Meanwhile, cut to the city square, and the execution stage is already being set. Taking his VIP seat, the prince smirks. The main event, it's officially kicking off. He hypes it up, declaring that the true saint of miracles is about to be born. But his knight drops a harsh truth bomb, basically pointing out they're just burning a woman at the stake like a witch. Across the square, some shady guy in a hood is grumbling about the wait time. And right there, blending into the massive crowd, Leon and Marbus are watching everything unfold. Our hero is wrestling with one hell of a moral dilemma. Do you save the sister who's fighting for her life and let the one who gave up burn? Impossible choice? Marbus is completely lost. What are you talking about? He asks. Our guy just looks at the twins and drops a bomb. One of them. Totally lying. Marbus just stares. Wide-eyed. Completely dumbfounded by his master's crazy conclusion. Holding a glowing stone, he admits only he can sense the real truth here. One sister desperately wants to live, while the other, completely ready to die. And honestly, that's exactly why he's so torn, gripping his chest tight. Now comes the impossible choice. Which sister gets to survive this nightmare, and which one does he condemn to an absolute tragic end? Wait, you're deciding on the actual day of the ceremony? Marbus asks, panicked. His response, hey, no one gave me a manual for this kind of mess. He straight up admits it. He is completely lost on how to handle this. Meanwhile, in the main square, a massive sacrificial pyre sits right in the center. The prince watches from behind, just waiting for the horror show to start. Slowly, he turns around, making his dramatic walk right into the spotlight. Smirking at the crowd, he introduces himself as Louis von Arheim. He claims the emperor sent him personally to witness the so-called birth of a saint. The crowd goes absolutely wild, cheering and screaming like it's a festival. He eats up the attention with a smug grin. But if you look closely, half these citizens just look terrified and seriously confused. He hypes it up, warning that total darkness will fall first, but hey, don't worry, it'll pass, and their glorious saint will finally arrive. The catch, they have to burn the witch they call the Nameless One. His lackeys exchange a glance, totally on board with this twisted plan. And get this, the exact same rule applies to their miracle saint. The knight steps up, claiming the twins' birth was some demonic scheme, then drops the hammer. The emperor demands a public sacrifice right here. Eyes gleaming with pure malice, he dares the crowd to object. Dead silence. The crowd, the sisters, nobody moves a muscle. Then the pope steps up, dragging one of the girls right toward her doom. And this prince, absolute trash. He actually smiles and says burning her is a waste of a perfectly good, beautiful concubine. Just gross. The pope hears this and clenches his fists, absolutely shaking with rage. An advisor has to grab his shoulder just to hold him back. The prince and his knight just smirk, loving the tension. A brutal stare-down begins with the pope barely containing his disgust for this guy. From a bird's-eye view, this incredibly tense standoff continues right out in the open. Desperate, the pope asks if there's any way to save these kids. Leon's answer, brutal honesty. It's basically a 0% chance of survival. But Leon flips the script. He actually has a question for the pope. His butler chimes in, wondering what his master is plotting now. Gazing off to the side, completely calm, Leon turns back to face the pope. Time to ask the million-dollar question. Meanwhile, in a dark room, the two sisters walk toward the exit. One desperately tries to comfort the other, wiping away her tears. She insists that if someone has to burn today, it should absolutely be her. The younger one breaks down as just being born a crime. The older sister sighs heavily. Maybe in this twisted world it actually is. She holds her tight, accepting they just can't escape this cruel prophecy. At least we get to choose who dies, she whispers. But suddenly, bam, a knight barges in, screaming to tie the witch up immediately. The older sister's face goes completely blank, resigned to her fate. Without blinking, she steps up and volunteers herself for the flames. The younger sister completely falls apart, crying. Choking on her words, she just apologizes mentally over and over. The guilt, eating her alive, knowing she completely lied about what she truly wanted. Deep down, she's secretly relieved her sister is taking her place. But wait, Flash Leon suddenly casts a spell, instantly knocking one of them out. The other sister freezes in pure shock before thud. She drops right to the floor, too, completely unconscious next to her twin. Leon just stands there, eyes sharp, completely focused on the aftermath. Marbus nervously asks, is this really the best move? Leon stares at the unconscious girls. It is, he mutters, though it sure doesn't feel right. Cut back to the main square. One sister is now bound tightly to the stake. The executioner walks up, a blazing torch in hand. No hesitation. He tosses it right onto the dry wood and the inferno begins. The flames roar to life, climbing higher and higher. The prince literally cheers, screaming that the era of the saint has officially begun. Who dares question the first prince now? His loyal knight brags. The prince just smirks. Anyone who disobeys gets burned. Simple as that. Trapped in the blazing inferno, the girl unleashes a blood-curdling scream. Absolute agony. Watching from the shadows, Leon stands motionless, the orange flames dancing in his eyes. His entire crew is gathered now, hidden beneath white hoods. Carlin hesitates, questioning if this twisted method was really necessary. Rachel just chuckles darkly. Not a total win, not a total loss, she says. Leon's goal, he just wants them to survive this mess. Watching the flames consume her, he quietly wonders, what does it actually take to be a real father? But get this, despite everything falling apart, he just wants his little girl to survive. Like, even if it literally costs him his own life. Leon just watches, thinking, maybe one day he'll finally get this crazy parent stuff. Surrounded by fire, she whispers that heaven must have finally heard her last wish. Leon spots exactly who is tied to that stake, and her she's weirdly calm, just saying she is taking the punishment. Tears streaming down, she confesses she wasn't a saint. She was terrified. Only her sister's kind words kept her going. The whole crowd just watches the roaring flames swallow her completely whole. Absolute madness. And this prince, total psychopath. He literally screams for more oil. The guards dump it on, making the inferno absolutely explode. In her very last seconds, she chokes out an apology to her sister. Then, just wide-eyed agony as the fire takes everything. Flashback time, 2 days ago. Leon and the big boss, the Pope, are having a super tense chat in his office. Leon hits him with the impossible question. Save the daughter desperate to survive, or the one ready to die? The Pope is completely thrown off. Can you even tell the difference? Leon just nods. Yeah, it's weird, but he definitely can. Silence. The Pope just stares at him, sweating bullets over this absolutely brutal choice before him. Finally, he tells Leon to use those eyes and act. Dead serious, he chooses to save the one he desperately wants to live. Jump back to the execution square. She is bawling, hands over her mouth in pure shock. Just an absolutely gut-wrenching scene with that massive fire blazing behind their carriage. Leon and Carlin are watching too. Staring into the flames by their ride, Leon suddenly drops a heavy question. Why did it end like this? Inside the carriage, Leon and his crew start a super intense debate. Marbus is totally lost. Like, what do you mean? Why on earth did the Pope save the girl who was totally fine dying? Outside, the nun watches the carriage looking totally crushed. Marbus thinks he is just asking pointless, obvious questions here, but Leon drops a reality check. He wanted them to feel surviving's crushing weight. Marbus nods survivor's guilt, living for the fallen. But Leon presses harder. What happens when push finally comes to shove? Marbus breaks it down. The one ready to die gets it. But the one clinging to life, they might never fully grasp that sacrifice. Leon drops a brutal truth. His family taught him that gratitude fades incredibly fast. Off to the side, the nun tightens her grip, suddenly looking fiercely determined. The silver-haired boy smirks. Bingo, that is exactly it. He wonders who to even blame. Leon sighs, nobody. Some messes are just completely unavoidable. Michelle chimes in, this continent needs a miracle worker. Carlin agrees, saying the spotlight is fully on the saint right now. Cut to the nun walking down this super creepy hallway, some guy trailing her. Looking exhausted, she whispers the nightmare is finally over. Her holy powers are completely awakened now. But suddenly, her eyes snap wide open. Panic mode. Everyone is completely caught off guard, staring in absolute shock. Rachel is so confused. Wait, did the power-up fail? What just happened? The nun panics and checks her chest. Her holy mark is suddenly glowing like absolute crazy. She sprints straight to her dad, totally freaking out. Meanwhile, the prince realizes this entire plot is going completely off the rails. Oh, he is livid. Just staring at the entire scene with pure fury and absolute disgust. He screams for the guards to arrest the Pope's crew. Surrounded, the Pope frantically swears that she is his real kid. The prince isn't having it. He played nice, gave him time, and the Pope still made the absolute dumbest choice possible. Zero hesitation. He turns to his knight and straight up orders the Pope's execution. The knight hesitates. What if the real saint is hidden? Nope. The prince argues that hiding her means the Pope is way too cocky. Ice cold, he declares religion absolutely won't sway him. He doubles down, screaming at Caliban to execute the guy right now without any hesitation. Caliban looks incredibly nervous, but duty calls. Raising his blade, he mutters that the Pope brought this completely on himself. Complete panic mode. The Pope frantically screams his lungs out, swearing she really is his daughter. Caliban isn't buying it. If she was that, holy crest would be perfect. Then clash. The other sister suddenly blocks the death blow. The Pope's jaw hits the floor. He absolutely cannot believe what is happening right in front of him. There she is. wielding a totally blood-soaked sword protecting her dad. Both the Pope and the knight are frozen in pure shock. He manages to gasp out, "Why risk everything for a trash father like him?" Face smeared with blood, she smirks. It wasn't just for him. Pointing a dagger at him, she declares that living a completely meaningless life just isn't worth it. And that is exactly why she wanted her sister to survive. Turning away, she laughs bitterly. Maybe this chaos is her punishment. Far off in the distance, Leon is watching this whole mess go down with dead serious eyes. He pops up in a magic portal to spy on the drama. And wait, check this out. The dead sister's energy, it's literally transferring straight into the survivor. Processing all this crazy magic, our guy finally pieces the puzzle together. Plot twist, they totally punish the wrong person. The Pope is completely blindsided. Punishment. What punishment he demands. She fires right back, calling him out. He's just as bad as the rest of them. The Pope completely lost. Sweating bullets, he just stares at her completely frozen. Drenched in blood, she drops the ultimate bombshell. He never truly saw them as his daughters. Tears falling, she tells him to just face the ugly truth and finally find some peace. Eyes burning with pure rage, she screams it loud. He never had daughters, and this absolute heartbreak, that's his karma. Pure panic mode. He screams her name as she hits the dirt. He drops to his knees, clutching her, totally shattered by reality. And in the background, that pyre is still blazing out of control. Marbus looks at Leon and instantly knows what's coming. "Hey boss," he asks, "you really gonna just stand by and watch this happen?" "Nope." Grabbing his magic book, Leon starts summoning the two dead girls. Carlin completely loses his mind, screaming at the crazy spell. Eyes shut tight, our boy declares their story isn't finished yet. Right on cue, the creepy eye on his book lights up with insane power. Boom, a massive shockwave of pure energy explodes. Right behind him. Carlin's jaw is on the floor. "So this is real necromancy," he stammers as gold and purple energy orbs suddenly pop into existence. Those glowing orbs, they start zipping wildly around the carriage. He asks one simple question, "Do you want to live?" The orbs immediately morph, shifting right back into the two sisters. "Want to keep going even as undead? I'm your guy." Looking dead serious, he tells them he is fully on board to save them. Flash magical chains wrap around them, locking the contract in. They take the deal, but hey, nothing is free. What's the catch? The catch is super simple. "From now on, you guys work for me." One sister nods, totally fair, a free revive would be sketchy anyway. Leon just closes his eyes. Awesome. Glad we're on the same page. Gripping his grimoire, he gets ready to finalize this magic contract. He looks them dead in the eye. Are they ready to swear absolute loyalty? The sisters share a quick glance. A tiny smile. Eyes closed, they fully accept our main character's crazy offer. The book's eye flashes bright again. Boom. The deal is officially locked in. Contract secured. A crazy wave of purple energy completely wraps around Leon. Clutching his book, he truly hopes they find whatever they're chasing. Genuine moment here, he really wants them to grab hold of their own destiny. Cut back to the Pope, still completely broken on the ground with his daughter. Outside, the prince and knight are busy staring down the survivor. The knight tenses up, he just felt a massive spike of magic. Is there a hidden third party crashing this party? Meanwhile, Leon is strolling down a hallway, casually holding his creepy book. Face totally serious, our guy is already plotting his next move. But Marbus is absolutely fuming, yelling at him for using subjugation without asking first. Leon just shrugs. "Hey, I saved their lives. I deserve to get paid." Carlin just sighs. This guy is unbelievable on so many levels. Marbus groans, explaining that making basic zombie grunts takes a specific method. It's all about precise, magical control to keep them in check. So Leon fires back. "How exactly do you tame undead that still have brains and free will?" "The secret, you gotta talk to the ghost. You find souls with massive regrets, fix their unfinished business, and boom, they lend you their power. That's the true meaning of subjugation." Leon nods, finally getting it. "It's basically supernatural therapy for the dead." "Exactly," Marbus nods. "Bigger regrets equal way bigger power boosts. Simple math." But he drops a hard warning, real necromancers never just use the dead. Leon locks eyes with him. Message completely received. Flash forward to right now, acting as the true heir, he calls them out loud. "Heaven, Helen. Time to answer the call of your necromancer." Right on cue, those two familiar glowing orbs pop straight up in the carriage. Then something wild happens. The orbs smash together, flashing blindingly bright. When the smoke clears, only one girl is left standing there. Leon and Marbus just watch, totally tracking with this bizarre magical fusion. Marbus chuckles, turns out they were literally fated to share one body from day one. Michelle and Carlin nod along, oddly accepting this crazy anime logic. The silver-haired kid shivers, saying the vibe just got super weird. Leon scratches his head. "So, which sister am I talking to right now?" She just smiles softly, eyes closed, while a glowing mark stamps onto her forehead. Right now, she teases. "I'm Heaven, the Holy Nun. Can you guys tag out whenever Leon asks?" She just winks. Totally can. But hold on, she warns him her new undead body has a tiny glitch. And just like that, the vibe turns pitch black. Her eyes snap open, and boom, total personality flip. She immediately groans, asking if she seriously has to serve such an uptight boss. Rachel spots the shift instantly. Yep, Helen's twisted alter ego just made an entrance. With a quick flick of her hand, she tells Rachel to zip it. Leon just sighs and asks the million-dollar question, what are these twins even good for? He flat out threatens to scrap them if they're useless. Sweating bullets, she forces a smile, pointing out how easily he drops terrifying threats. But she quickly purrs that they can do absolutely anything to keep their master happy. Sliding up to him, she drops a hand on his shoulder, locking eyes. She pulls him ridiculously close into a hug, totally shocking everyone in the room. Smirking right in his face, she leans in dangerously close. Whispering, she asks if he'd be down for something like this. Cut to a blue, gray, and white flag hanging on the wall. The guildmaster confirms the job is finished, but man, she looks incredibly stressed. Catching her expression, Leon casually admits he totally didn't expect things to wrap up like this. Carlin points out the Pope signed off, so it's payday. Massaging her temples, she lets out a massive sigh, absolutely drained by this whole mess. Rachel sighs. Our guy is unbelievable in several different ways. I mean, reviving the guy's daughter as an undead right in front of him, savage. She quickly snaps his attention back, fiercely swearing her loyalty. Totally flustered, he awkwardly avoids her gaze, dodging that whole messy confrontation altogether. Marbus groans about her terrible attitude, but Leon just shrugs it off. Meanwhile, the silver-haired kid mutters that being alive is great probably. Boom, the guildmaster officially hands over the silver emblem ranking. She promises to wire the cash, but Leon pushes, is that really it? She promises to hit him up the second a fresh bounty drops on her desk. Carlin tells him to chill, she's practically a vault. Flashing a grin, she adds that as long as the money flows, everybody stays happy. Michelle totally rolls her eyes at the fake sweetness. Cocking her gun, she casually levels a threat that leaves him shaking in his boots. Breaking the tension, Marbus claps his hands. Time for this crazy crew to roll out. He figures they better test drive the twins' new powers. Carlin then nudges Penelia, begging for just a tiny bit more mission backup. Groaning, she caves, mixing some weird liquid into a bowl. Meanwhile, hard cut to the palace, a knight stomps up the throne room stairs. He reports the Pope is absolutely losing his mind, starving himself to death. The prince smirks, noting the trauma of losing his girls hit hard. Lounging right beside the emperor, he watches the whole pathetic situation with absolute disgust. The emperor is furious about this humiliation. They literally just lost their ultimate prize, the holy saint. He angrily questions when the next divine prophecy will drop. Pleading for mercy, the knight swears to lay down his life for the empire. The prince coldly tells him not to screw up again, then pivots. Did they track down that rogue dark mage yet? Sweating, the knight admits they completely lost his trail. Worse, the candidate's souls literally vanished into thin air halfway through. He stammers that absolutely zero known mages possess that kind of insane magical precision. Glancing away, the prince's eyes narrow. A necromancer, maybe. Back in the woods, our chaotic party huddles up to plan their next move. The guildmaster faces Leon, totally pumped for the next phase. She wants to know what crazy skills his new undead unlocked upon revival. He promises a live demonstration, casually asking her to summon an opponent for target practice. Getting serious, he requests a solid mid-tier monster. Time to test drive the older sister's combat specs first. Eyes shut tight, she unleashes this massive wave of golden aura. When her eyelids flutter open, pure blinding energy surrounds her entirely. She actually apologizes for her twin's terrible manners earlier. Clasping her hands with a sweet smile, she announces she's ready to brawl. With a simple hand wave, the guildmaster drops the enemies. Boom, 4 massive forest trolls burst from the dirt, roaring for blood. Rachel takes one look at those ugly brutes and instantly recognizes the monster class. He warns that troll regeneration is going to make this super annoying, but Carlin shrugs, the boss has already proved his insane worth anyway. Meanwhile, the silver-haired kid nods, putting total blind faith in their leader. Leon eyes her closely, questioning if she can handle this mess. Without missing a beat, she sprints headfirst right at the raging trolls. Flipping his book open, Leon magically spawns her a weapon. Gripping a massive heavy staff, she winds up for an absolute home run. One troll locks onto her, its red eyes burning with pure fury. CRACA. She completely levels the beast with one devastating full-power swing. Holding Marbus, he mutters that she's ridiculously strong but honestly terrifying. Wham. Another merciless strike literally crushes a troll's skull to dust. Soon the forest floor is just littered with completely wrecked monster corpses. Glancing back with an innocent smile, she waits for her master's grade. Leon just nods. Yeah, she's definitely solid enough for frontline duty. Bathed in purple energy, he leaves the rest to Helen. And wow, a glowing mark appears on her forehead and her entire personality, completely flipped. Flashing a wild smile, she declares her big moment to shine is finally here. Glaring at the trolls, she's ready to prove her worth. Then bam, she summons magical chains and absolutely blitzes toward them. These cocky monsters, they need a lesson in manners, she says. Her eyes glow dangerously as she charges up a massive strike. She whips those chains right into the trolls. The result, a massive purple explosion. Then she literally stomps a troll's head straight into the dirt. Crushed. Giving a cute wink, she asks if he wouldn't just die for their love. The squad just stares totally stunned by this crazy switch-up. Marbus shakes his head. Yep, completely insane, every single one of them. Cut back to the city where the House Marbus flag flies high. Exhausted, Leon lets out a sigh. They're finally back home. Marbus nods. Business handled, and they bag some solid power-ups too. Leon totally agrees, his necromancer skills definitely leveled up. Meanwhile, the silver-haired kid kicks himself that those two headed out early. Rachel smiles, thrilled that a fresh talent joined their ranks. But Carlin, she immediately ruins the mood, reminding him about his massive debt. The blonde guy walks up to Leon to drop his goodbyes. Shaking hands, he asks if the duo is seriously taking off already. Rachel nods. Yup, they've got other clueless debtors out there to track down. She double-checks his name, Valther, right? She gives him massive props. His talent is honestly incredible, even if it gets overlooked right now. Then Rachel shudders, praying she never runs into the commander of the lunatics. Leon raises an eyebrow. Why is she so terrified of this guy? Flashing a shaky smile, he admits the guy is an absolute monster. But honestly, Rachel's a totally different breed of monster herself. He promises Valther's raw talent is legit, and he'll definitely achieve his goals. Blushing hard, Valther awkwardly stammers out a thank you. Leon smirks, predicting he'll make one heck of a loyal servant down the line. Valther swears he'll shatter all their expectations. Rachel just laughs out loud that cocky energy is perfect for a future family head. Leon totally agrees, accepting their warm send-off. But before leaving, Rachel drops a warning. He's tied to the guild now, so pay up. Looking totally defeated, Leon just gives a quiet nod. Rachel groans that he's ruining the vibe. Out of nowhere, Carlin literally points a gun at the chatterbox, ordering him to zip it. She grabs him, muttering that talkative guys are just a liability. Glancing back at Leon, she genuinely hopes he's way stronger next time. Giving a firm nod, Leon finally waves goodbye. He stands there silently, watching Rachel and Carlin disappear deep into the dense forest. Back in town, absolute chaos. A massive crowd swarms Leon's group, cheering and sobbing with gratitude that he didn't leave them behind. Completely confused, he asks what's happening. Suddenly, Paulin sprints toward him, bawling his eyes out and screaming his name. Startled, Leon calls his name, completely baffled by all this crazy drama. Wham! Out of nowhere, a heavy strike smacks the back of his head, dropping him instantly. A fierce woman yells, "Where has he been?" Crouching in the dirt, he shields his head, totally blind to his attacker. He peeks up. Oh no, it's Diana, his terrifying older sister. His loyal vassals instantly panic, rushing over to check on him. Marbus wisely suggests taking this inside, and Leon violently agrees. Leon quickly mentions she's the upcoming head of the prestigious Berechia family. Cut to a private room where the whole squad awkwardly gathers around. Giving some quick context, he calls her an elite spirit summoner. Meanwhile, a creature shamelessly flatters Leon, praising his skills and his gorgeous sister. Diana stares at Marbus. Straight to business, she needs a demon license. She crosses her arms. A demon traveling with Leon makes zero sense to her. Flashing a smooth smile, Marbus just shrugs, it is what it is. His loyal vassals nervously nod along, backing up the crazy story. Even the shadowy creature chimes in to confirm, eyes gleaming with mischief. The kid quickly apologizes, swearing that's exactly what he told them. Diana sighs. Why does Leon always attract this kind of absolute chaos? She starts scolding him hard for vanishing during such a critical time. Looking guilty, he apologizes, admitting the town thought he ran away. She softens slightly. They told her he'd return soon, so she patiently waited. Tentatively, he asks if she needs a favor right now. Her face drops into dead seriousness. She just stares. Oh boy, here comes the request. She lowers her head, looking really stressed about their current situation. Time is running out, she mutters, admitting she only came to check on him. Then she gestures for him to step just a little closer. Flick, right to the forehead. That's punishment for his terrible memory, she says. Rubbing his head, he panics. Is it that event? She nods firmly. She drops the bomb. The massive banquet where every noble family gathers is finally happening. Staring him down, she leaves no room for debate. He is going as her partner. Scene shift. We get a wide shot of a ridiculously massive, luxurious estate. Inside, a sleepy white-haired boy is gently shaken awake by his loyal butler. Time to get up. The high-stakes noble banquet is about to begin. Our guy complains, absolutely refusing to go if his brothers are already attending. But the butler explains this is a massive three-house noble summit. He pushes back, calling it the perfect chance to finally ditch his problem child reputation. Sighing heavily, he drags himself out of bed. Looking completely over it with a deadpan expression, he whines about how much of a drag this entire situation is. Polland helps Leon dress for the big event. Honestly, with that intense stare, he actually looks like he is plotting something huge. Cut to the hall, meet Diana, the stunning purple-haired heir to House Varia. Oh, and she also happens to be his fiancée. Staring at her, he honestly wonders if showing up was even worth it. Meanwhile, she immediately starts nagging about his questionable loyalty to other women. Snatching him right by the collar, she demands to know if he actually plans to marry her. He casually agrees, just staring back, totally unfazed. Out of nowhere, this weird, dark creature starts screaming, asking if this is some ridiculous field trip. Laughing it off, Pollen jumps in for damage control. He casually mentions that these two are total opposites who literally bicker every single time they meet. He sighs politely, asking her to release his poor collar. She scoffs, annoyed that becoming the family head literally has not changed his lazy personality. He shoots back that people just do not change that fast. Frustrated, she begs him to stop giving his citizens constant heart attacks. Then bam. A cold sweat drops. She realizes something heavy, her voice completely dying in her throat. Flashback time. Just Leon standing totally alone in a freezing heavy downpour. Then a massive pool of blood slowly spreading across the pitch-black ground. Snapping back to reality, she drops her head, apologizing with this gut-wrenching look. But he brushes it off, saying her father died with zero regrets. Crossing his arms like an absolute boss, he calmly states the man died, defending exactly what mattered. Shook, she just stares, totally lost for words. She admits he is amazing, but still warns him that crashing this noble event is a terrible idea. He fires back that their family clawed back its honor by winning the war. Sure, he knows the elite snobs still look down on them like trash, but his eyes shift. Dead serious now, he swears to do whatever it takes to protect his family. Q, his vassals literally cheering, hyped their lord is finally stepping up. Totally fired up, he declares he is crashing this party for everyone's sake. Scene shift, we are talking a massive dazzling ballroom packed with elite nobles gossiping away. High society at its finest drinks, flowing expensive outfits everywhere. Over in the corner, even the royal prince is casually mingling with the crowd. The gossip is piping hot. One noble asks if Sylvester really lost the recent territory war, while another demands to know who actually beat them. With this dead serious glare, the guy drops the bomb they lost to House Marbus. Shocked gasps everywhere. They thought Marbus was just some washed-up, powerless duke family. But this guy waves it off, totally cocky about his inside info. Boom, Leon and Diana make their grand entrance hand in hand, stopping the whole room. Leon just smirks, noting the place is way too loud. Clinging to his hand, she is blushing hard, looking completely overwhelmed by all the intense stares. Trying to play it cool, she whispers that true leaders stay totally composed. He thanks her for the tip, saying he knows exactly how to act. In her head, she is panicking. She has known him forever, but right now he feels so different. Ironically, he is just wondering if his crazy squad is okay outside. Cut to outside. Those two maniac vassals are smirking, looking completely ready to start a riot. She sighs, reminding herself that despite his cold vibe, he is literally just a 14-year-old kid. But he quickly reminds her he outranks her as family head. Enter the antagonist. A snooty silver-haired guy strolls up, flashing this incredibly fake, curious smile while asking if Leon is the actual boss. Leon casually nods and demands to know what the guy wants. The dude plays it off secretly, thinking about how this kid somehow defeated Alan. Chuckling like a total jerk, he mentions hearing some absurd rumor about Leon actually winning. Without skipping a beat, Leon just deadpan confirms the wild story. The dude completely freezes. He just stares at our boy, absolutely stunned by that blunt, no hesitation answer. Diana silently wonders if this silver-haired jerk is just acting tough to impress her. The guy chuckles, claiming he just cannot imagine a scrawny kid actually winning. So he pushes it, asking exactly how he pulled it off. Leon looks right at him. I killed him. The dude stammers, asking him to repeat that. Eyes glowing with absolute menace, Leon coldly repeats that the head of Marbus ended Alan's life. He smirks, adding that demonstrating it right now might be a bit messy. Glancing back, he drops the ultimate threat: if you mess with my house, you will experience that process firsthand. Absolute chills. That heavy aura leaves Diana totally paralyzed, zero clue how to even breathe. Even the dark creature on the floor mutters that their boss is completely unhinged. Meanwhile, the stunned white-haired noble is just left there watching our badass duo casually walk away. Shaken to his core by that insane pressure, he silently reaches for a tall glass of wine.